a business opportunity. But the very basic meaning of a business opportunity or a business idea is that it has a potential or an avenue for profit making. Now, there is no business if there's no profit. If you want to do something of impact and whatnot, go and do non-profit. But then when it comes to the conversation of a business, the the essence of it is that it has to make profit. If you're engaging in anything that does not eventually translate to profit, then that is not a business you're doing because eventually that business will have to continue, that business will have to expand, and you cannot do that if you're going to be giving value for free. So the end game really for every business is how can this business make profit? And to do this is by identifying unmet or underserved needs in the market. That is the simple and most basic definition of what a business opportunity is. What unmet needs, what underserved needs can I identify and turn it into a profit making business? That is the simple definition of a business opportunity. It really involves you identifying a gap or a demand in the market or in your community or wherever you're being placed that you as a person can address through a product. You can address this through a service or something innovative, if you ask me. I want to believe that this definition is as basic and as simple for anyone to understand. That if you walk on the road tomorrow and someone picks you up and say, "Oh, Shukura, what is a business opportunity?" Or how would you describe what is termed a business idea? You will be able to categorically tell the person that a business opportunity or a business idea is it gives is an opportunity that presents you an avenue to make profit while meeting unserved or undeserved needs in the market or in the community that you find yourself. And you do this by identifying gaps and demands in the market that are yet to be filled and addressing it either through a product or a service. Now, what is not a business opportunity? This now helps you understand it so that when you see things that are not business opportunity, you'll be able to effectively identify them. Now, what is not a business opportunity is something that has no market demand. If anything that you're working on, this business idea you have does not have a market demand, that is not a business opportunity. For example, when you're trying, if you know that you live in a Sahara, your community is the Sahara Desert, and you're selling a snow shovel, there is no demand for a snow shovel in a Sahara Desert because there is nothing fundamentally or naturally requiring people to desire that service or product that you're providing. I hope this makes sense. You need to ensure that whatever you're terming as a business opportunity has significant market demand. Something else that is not a business opportunity is something that it has an unsustainable model. Something that has an unsustainable. A business is not something that you start today and it ends tomorrow. No, that is not a business opportunity. A business opportunity is something that would eventually stand the test of time, that is sustainable in a way that it continues and even outlives you, if you ask me. A business opportunity is not a situation where the cost outweigh the potential profit significantly. If you're doing a business and the cost of doing that business is more than the profit you're making, that is not really a business opportunity if you ask me. Because, like I said, the end goal of every business is to what? Is to make profit. So if the cost of delivering a solution, if the cost of delivering a product further outweighs the potential profit that you are going to get from that business, you cannot say that that is a business opportunity. For example, offering luxury item in at a price far below the market value without a sustainable revenue model. Now, a lot of people that I've met when they ask me, "Oh, I have this idea," many times people are driven by impact so much so that they throw the essence of what a business is into the wind. I know you want to make an impact in the world, you want to solve this problem, but if that thing that you want to do cannot eventually turn to profit that will sustain that business, it will eventually die down. What then becomes of the impact you want to make? If you want to do strictly impact work, you can go into the NGO space, right? There's a lot of opportunities in the NGO space that you can be solving. But the purpose of this conversation here today is how do we identify a business opportunity for yourself, right? So we're not talking about impact project. We're not speaking about the NGO model. What we're talking about is a business. A business at the bottom line makes profit. So assess what you're currently doing. Is the costs outweighing the potential profit that you're making? Now, there's a caution to this. At the very initial stages of your business, you're most likely to make a loss, right? But when you make a future projection, is that loss going to eventually turn into profit? Now, it's something called financial models that we tend to build for businesses who are just at the early stages of it. Now, this is not a class for financial modeling, but when you see or when you look at a financial model at the very initial stages, maybe in year one, year two, your books are at a red. But then when you move on to year three and year four and year five, you begin to see that that red is turning into green because that business is eventually growing and making profit. All right. So that is why it is important that you ensure that whatever you're doing in the grand scheme of things is something that is sustainable and has a, a, a very sustainable revenue model. Another thing that is not a business opportunity is something that is of high risk without any mitigation plan or strategy. Now, you know how they say, oh, risk, the risk is, as in, they will tell you that the higher the risk, the more money you make. Ponzi scheme is a high risk investment or a high risk business opportunity, if you ask me, right? But is it sustainable? Yes, you can make profit, though, but there are times when you you get, as in, you would, it's not a sustainable business model because eventually that Ponzi scheme will end up crashing. I don't know how many of you lost money through MMM or the double cash. There was a time that was in vogue. Everybody was getting into a Ponzi scheme. Eventually, MMM crashed and people lost millions of naira into that Ponzi scheme. So, if what it is that you're coming up as a business opportunity has very high risk without any mitigation strategies, whereby the risk involved are too high and cannot be effectively managed, you cannot term that thing a business opportunity. An example, like I said, is investing in a volatile market without any risk management strategies. That is not a business opportunity. It is just you know, it's something in Yoruba they call na buju buju. You're literally just going by the wind. If you know that you want to invest in the market, there are ways to go about it. There are asset management firms, there are investment bankers. These are people that have been trained to understand the nuances of the money and capital markets. And they know they have devised strategies on how those things will eventually lead into losses, so much so that you lose significant investments. Now, if whatever idea that you have, whatever business that you're involved with, is it's involving very high risk and no mitigation strategy, that is not termed a business opportunity. Now, another thing that is not termed a business opportunity is something that has legal and ethical issues. If you're involved in a business that is not ethical, if you're involved in a business that is not legal, eventually the law will catch up with you. Eventually it will fold because when something is not done in the right way, many times you see that it eventually fails in the long run. So whatever idea that you're nursing, whatever business you're currently doing that involves legal and ethical problems, for example, selling counterfeit goods or selling pirated softwares or even pushing drugs, these are not sustainable business model and you cannot exactly term them business opportunity, right? This is all speaking by the books. And I hope with these very clear examples, you can already begin to assess yourself, assess your idea, assess your existing business for these loopholes. Now, how exactly can you identify a business opportunity? I need to confirm that you can hear me and I've not been speaking to myself.
Yes, we can. We can, sir.
Can hear you, sir.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you very much. Now, how do you identify a business opportunity? Now, we have said, oh, this is not a business opportunity. Don't do this, don't do that. It's not a business opportunity. What then, or how then can you identify? We all know, we have all established the fact that a business is a profit-making initiative that eventually meets or sets to meet unmet needs or underserved demands. We have already established that fact. Now, how exactly do you go about identifying what is now termed a business opportunity? That is what we want to look into now. Now, there are various ways in which people identify business opportunities, and we're going to see that as we go. I've highlighted the most globally relevant, the most globally accepted ways to go about um I'm sorry, I lost my train of thought. So the most globally accepted way to think about identifying business opportunities is what I highlighted there. There are 1,001 others, but we're going to focus on what many businesses that have succeeded have leveraged. Okay. Now, how do you identify a business opportunity? There are many ways to do it. The first way we're going to look at is conducting market research. When we say identifying unmet needs, identifying underserved needs, identifying problems within your immediate community that you can solve, one of the ways you can eventually find that out is by conducting market research. Now, what exactly is market research? Someone is speaking, someone's mic is unmuted. Please ensure that your mic is muted so that you don't distract the class. Next factory company, I think that's is coming from you. Thank you. Please ensure that you've muted your mic. Okay, so how do you identify a business opportunity? I already said that one of the ways to do that is through conducting market research. Now, market research is the process of gathering, analyzing, and interpreting information about a market, including data on consumer needs, preferences, and behaviors. This is a way to identify a business opportunity. What exactly is research? Research is basically finding information. Okay, research is basically finding information. Now, you need to gather information, analyze the information, and interpret what that information that you have gathered and analyzed is saying. What does that potentially mean? For example, if I go on the internet and I search for things around how many people, okay, I could say something like how many gyms are there in Nigeria, for example. How many gyms do we have in Nigeria? What are the players or who are the people who owns gyms in Nigeria? You tend to hear things like iFitness, a lot of other ones. And then I begin to ask myself, what are the things that these businesses or these gyms are already doing that are some, if you begin to question, okay, so and what are the things that these gyms are doing, you know, that, or like what is one gym doing that another gym is not doing? Or what are gyms in say maybe a country like the US is doing that gyms in Nigeria are not doing. And then you begin to research and find that information. You're gathering information, you're analyzing what the information is giving you. And eventually, when you gather and analyze that entire information, you are able to now distill and say, oh, after all this research I've done, this is where there's a gap that I can feel. This is one way this business is not doing it well. This is one way I can come in into this market. That is one way to identify a business opportunity. Now, how do you even go about conducting a market research? There are two primary ways to do it. One is what we call primary research, right? Primary research is basically collecting raw data. This data, if you if you ask me, to, is not yet in existence or has not been structured in a way that it makes sense. I don't know how many of you have a background with data analytics. You hear things like unstructured data and structured data. Unstructured data is things around images, like when you get images, when you get text, they're literally scattered everywhere. you can put that picture in your head when you think about primary research. Primary research is basically collecting raw data, collecting non-existent data, and putting a structure to it that it makes sense. How do you do this? You can do it by sending out surveys. I don't know how many of you have seen surveys on WhatsApp. Some people are trying to send surveys to you, or like, can you help me fill this survey? That is a way for them to collect data, that can eventually turn into insight for them. People do it by conducting interviews. Like some people go into rural areas, for example. Maybe that's where their heart lies. They go into rural areas and they're asking people for information. They're conducting interviews. Oh, tell me, what are the problems that you're facing in this community? Oh, tell me, what are the situations that you're going through? Like, what are the challenges? You see how some people will eventually go into these rural areas, and maybe the idea that they eventually come up with is that these people have a problem of, like, say, maybe fetching clean water, for example. All right. And then they begin to think about a solution for that problem. And that's how someone can create a business, a borehole business in that community, and begin to make money. All right. So this is how you go about conducting primary research: interviews, surveys. Some companies, for example, this is not even limited to small businesses. Some very big organizations, when they want to launch a new product, for example, like when you think about the big dogs, Milo, Nestle, if they want to launch a new product, you see them conducting interviews, surveys, you see them conducting focus groups. They can create a solution from their lab, they will bring it into a focus group. Some people will test it and some people would not, and then they will begin to get some information because those things don't exist. You need to find them yourself. Through those focus groups, they are learning, they're getting new information, and that is helping them shape the outcome of their products. Okay, so maybe they have like a conflict now, for example, um, um, they have two products that they want to launch into the market. They will take one of the product and give it to a focus group of people and say, oh, like, taste this product and tell me what you think about it. And then those people will be tasting and giving feedback. That feedback, they're collecting it and they're using it to refine the product even more. So that when they launch it into the market, a lot of people will be open to receiving that product. And when you're creating a focus group, don't let your biases play into it, because there's a lot of things that go into a focus group. You need to ensure that your focus group is as diverse and as inclusive as possible. You're getting old people, you're getting young people, you're getting people with disability, you're getting different spectrum of human beings that can test that product. That way, you even have more insights on how to improve your product and make it better. Same thing applies to you, a business owner. If you have a new initiative you want to launch for your business, or you have a new idea, focus groups can help you identify even more prominent issues that you might not have even paid attention to. Okay, so these are different ways to conduct primary research. I said here in my slide, talk to your neighbors, friends, church members, etc. Like, ask them what are their needs, what frustrates you, what are your pain points, what complaints do you have about an existing product. Now, this is a very interesting one. Let's say that you want to come into a market, or you want to know about a product. Okay, now I gave an example of a gym before. A gym is what you want to do, right? And then you come into the market and you say, oh, like, what are the complaints you have about the gyms in Lagos? You know, that, and how, like, what are those complaints? And someone will tell you, oh, I wish I can go to the gym by, say, 2 a.m. in the morning. You begin, that information alone is already an existing business opportunity for you, or a business idea. Why? Most gyms in Nigeria typically have opening and close time. I don't think there's a fundamental 24 hours gym in Lagos. If you ask me, this is just me thinking out loud. I'm not sure. I stand corrected, but I don't think there's a 24 hours gym in Lagos right now. Most of the gyms that I know in Lagos, they probably open, say, by 7 or 6 a.m. in the morning, and then maybe they close by 10 p.m. Just imagine that someone then gives you this information. Oh, I wish I can go to the gym by 2 a.m. in the morning, or by 4 a.m. in the morning. I wish I can just be in the gym every time I want to be in the gym. That already gives you a potential business opportunity or a business idea. If I open a 24 hours gym in Lagos, that can create an opportunity for me to make money, because you currently do not have um you need to validate that. So when someone tells you something, oh, I wish I can, and then you begin to, so you see why I said that in conducting market research, you need to gather information, analyze the information that you have gathered, and think to yourself, what does this mean for a customer? Or what does this even mean for you? And that's why I'm saying that example of a 24 hours gym now, for example, is a business idea that you have gotten from maybe an interview that you asked somebody who was going to the gym. You saw somebody going to the gym, ask, oh, like this gym you're going to. I see that you go there every day. What is it about this gym that you wish, that does not exist that you think you can, that you think someone can create? And they tell you, oh, that I wish I can go to the gym every day. You already have the idea and you need to go and validate it. You need to go and conduct more research to ensure that that thing that you have you have gathered is sufficient information. Okay, so that is one way to go about primary research. Now, the second layer of it is secondary research. Now, this is the one that has to do with you collecting existing data. You know how I said that primary research speaks to, you know, undocumented data, raw data that has not been collected. Secondary research now speaks to existing data sources. People have gone, they've gone to do the hard work of collecting that data. Now, they have provided you with that report, with that source that you can use to validate your potential business idea. And that is how, you make use of secondary research to validate things. So let's say, for example, you have done primary research. You can take it a step further to do secondary research to validate some of the ideas that you've gotten from your primary research. How do you do secondary research? Is using existing data sources, industry reports, government publications, companies who have done market analysis like the KPMGs, the McKinseys, the BCGs, they release reports every year about what's going on in the Nigerian market, what's going on in the economy. All of those reports can serve as secondary data sources for you to reference when you say, oh, according to McKinsey reports, there are currently 200 young people in Nigeria. I'm just giving an example, right? According to KPMG's report, they have gone to do the heavy lifting for you. These are areas where you can find information that can validate your business idea. So that's pretty much about the first way to go about identifying a business opportunity, conducting market research. Now let's go into the next one, industry assessments and emerging trends. This one is very interesting. One way to go about identifying or assessing, uh, sorry, another way to go about identifying a potential business opportunity is by looking at existing industries, right? Assessing industries for potential business opportunities involves a detailed examination of various factors such as market trends, the competitive landscape, regulatory environment, and financial performance of these various industries that can impact the viability and profitability of entering or expanding a particular industry. Now, the question I'm going to ask, I need some volunteers. What are some emerging industries that we should pay attention currently, right now in Nigeria? What are some industries? If you like have your hands up, please, Solomon, if you can help me coordinate because I can't see how they raise their hand. So just like call people up as they raise their hand. And please like, when you come up, please tell me your name. I might not I'm not seeing the entire class right now. It's just my screen that I'm seeing.
Okay, so do you want me to make you the host, or I can just
No, no, no.
coordinate?
Like just call the names of the people who are raising their hands according to
Okay,
order.
okay. All right. Okay. Okay, so we have Shukura Balogun.
Okay, so let's hear from Shukra. Shukra, please tell me, what are some emerging industries that we should pay attention to and why?
So imagine what?
What are the what are some emerging industries in Nigeria right now that we should pay attention to and why?
Okay, the one that came to my mind right now is the Lagos State's own. So that's due to the Lagos State is proposing that they are going to ban the use of single-use plastics starting from 2025 January. And I think entrepreneurs, especially those who do a lot of packaging, needs to start rethinking how to. So maybe we can say the paper industry is going to be really emerging in terms of as a substitute to single-use plastic and all of that.
Absolutely.
So
That's a good one. That's a really good one. Thank you so much. You saw the way she highlighted a reference point. that the Lagos government has said something about packaging, and now that should now inform you to know what industries you should be paying attention to. All right. There are a lot of industries. There's the education industry, you know, there's the manufacturing industry, there's the energy industry. There's just a lot of industries in Nigeria. Now she has highlighted one. So let's say like manufacturing industry, for example, or maybe like when you think about manufacturing industry, you're thinking about paper, like, those who make papers, those who make, like different things that are used for manufacturing, as well as people who actually manufacture product itself, right? You see how information from a secondary source is now informing you on what industry you should be paying attention to as an entrepreneur. So let's take a second example. Who's the next person raising their hand?
I'm raising my hand though.
Okay, so let's hear from you, Humanity.
Okay, thank you. So one thing that comes to mind right now, I think it's a general I think it's a general thing, and that is the technological industry.
Absolutely.
Like tech right now is something that once you attach tech to what you're doing,
Mm-hmm.
everybody wants to listen to you. And
Mm-hmm.
then even when you're talking investment, people want to invest in that space. And then one other space like that is environmental sustainability.
Absolutely.
People are looking forward to anything you're doing, make sure that
Someone
it's
is
helping the
speaking. Please mute
society.
your mic. You're distracting the class. Sorry, please go ahead.
Okay, so everybody is looking forward to, okay, climate issues, environmental issues. So whatever it is that we dispose right now is going back to impact the world, going back to impact the climate. So everybody now is looking forward to how businesses can now become environmentally conscious. So when you do anything that has, a bit of environmental sustainability, you kind of like stand out. And then the tech industry as well. Thank you.
Absolutely. Those were really fantastic. Thank you so much for saying that. I feel like you can begin to already understand what we're now talking about, right? When you when you look at an industry, what are some industries that like we have now discussed industry that we should be paying attention to. How about industries that we should no longer be focusing on? Does anyone have an idea what industry we should not be looking at? Now, like Emmanuel had mentioned, the technological industry. That is very solid because the world is moving to the digital era where everything is becoming digital. Technology is taking over. So, as an entrepreneur, if you're not thinking about how to plug into your business to technology right now, you are already at a disadvantage. You are already at a disadvantage. There are a lot of technological ways you can plug your business into. A lot of AI tools coming out now that businesses are leveraging to expand their operations that you can take advantage of. Does anyone have an idea of what industry we should be paying less attention to at this time? Please, you can just unmute your mic and speak.
Okay, so let me just give an example. So I
Mhm,
have a communications background,
mhm.
and I would like to say anything around print media right now is not where you want to focus your energy on, like the print newspaper, hard copy stuff.
Mhm,
It's
mhm.
going out of vogue soon.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That is just a direct opposite of what you mentioned earlier around technology advancement. Because of the world is moving to a digital age, things are now going digital. So if you as an entrepreneur, you're thinking about maybe going to go and start up a newspaper company in 2024, you are already at a disadvantage because you need to pay attention to industry trends. You need to pay attention to market trends, regulatory environment. For example, one very interesting example that happened on how regulation can also help shape the kind of industry you should be focusing on. Now, in the automotive industry, we used to take bikes in Lagos in major roads, and that was how like the company Go-Kada came to be. It was how Opay came to be. I think they had like an O-Ride. There were a lot of other mobility companies that sprung up as a result of the fact that they were like bikes, like motorcycles are allowed across everywhere in Lagos. It took just one regulatory shift to close down an entire an entire segment of that industry because of what? One regulation. We don't want to see bikes on major roads in Lagos anymore. And that was it. Like Gokada went out almost out of business. They had to re strategize and refocus their business to now turn into a delivery service. This is what regulation can do to a business. This is what like you need to, as an entrepreneur, you need to pay attention to what is going on in the world, what is going on in various industries right now, and how can you begin to plug in? How can you find opportunities in this upcoming industry that you have not been in? How can you get in? That's how an entrepreneur should be thinking. And another thing, again, very closely related to industry assessment, which is why I put them together, is emerging trends. How are you following up with emerging trends? What are the current day realities in the Nigerian ecosystem? Right? You need to remain vigilant of emerging local and global trends, such as technological advancement, evolving consumer preferences. Now, this one is very interesting. You see the way consumer preferences have changed. Before, people would go to a restaurant and stand in line and cook or and ask for food or buy food from a restaurant. Now, consumers are getting lazy. Nobody wants to go and shop anymore. Nobody wants to go and nobody wants to go to the market anymore. Nobody wants to go and stand in queues in a restaurant to buy food or have to take bus to go to a restaurant to eat. That emerging trend was what launched various companies like what's it called now? A Glovo, Child Deck, like Price Pally. Those companies are what they are coming up as a result of what consumers' preferences are what evolving. So if you're an entrepreneur, you're a business owner, you're someone who is thinking about solving a problem, starting a business, you need to pay attention to emerging trends. Those are opportunities for you to identify potential business opportunities that you can leverage. You know, there are so many emerging trends like regulatory changes, which was a very good example of the Gokoda situation I gave you, that could potentially become a business opportunity. How do you even follow this emerging trend? As an entrepreneur, you need to follow the news. I see a lot of business owners, and I'm like, how are you running business in Nigeria and you're not reading the news? You're not reading how the government is shaping industries. You're not reading how, if you're in the fintech space, for example, and you are not reading news and following up with regulatory changes, you will be lost in the wind because the CBN continuously come up with various policies. You see a lot of circulars. Almost every Eke market day, there's a circular from CBN on one issue in the fintech environment. So imagine that you want to build a business on fintech and you're not paying attention to these emerging trends. You're not reading news to know what is going on part time in the market that you're playing in. You are not ready. You are joking. You need to follow both local and international news. I'm not just saying local news or international news because there can be some business opportunity that can spring out of Nigeria into the global stage because of what you paid attention to global news. You know what is happening globally. So, for example, if you're paying attention to news at the time when like Russia and Ukraine were having a lot of issues, you can see the ripple can see the ripple effect on different and how that war affected different sectors and industries across the world. Because these countries were known for supplying things to different countries, but just because of they were at war, prices of things went up, inflation skyrocketed because of what? War between two countries. Now imagine you're an entrepreneur and you're not paying attention to all of this news. How would you survive? So these are various ways you can do it. If you have the opportunity to travel as a business owner, please travel. Go and see how things are done in other countries. That way, your mind is exposed to potential business opportunity, emerging trends. You'll see what is happening in other countries and how those emerging things could eventually turn into a business opportunity for you in your local market. You need to attend industry-specific events that discuss tropical issues. One thing I like to do a lot in my field, even as a corporate professional, is to attend lots of events, especially tech events. I love to go for tech events because when you go for these events, you will be exposed to so many things that are happening in the tech space that you are like, oh my God, what am I doing? So, as a business owner, entrepreneur, you need to pay attention to these. I'm not going to go into this and say what are some emerging trends because you can already tell some emerging trends, technology. There's a lot of emerging trends around sustainability, climate change. These are trends going on now. In some countries, they don't give like paper bags anymore, or they don't give nylon bags anymore when you go to the store. Is either you buy a paper bag or you come with your own bag from your house. These are emerging trends that are affecting the way businesses are positioning right now. One other way to identify a business opportunity is looking inward. Now we've discussed a lot of external things, oh, like market research. We've discussed like emerging trends and all of that. Now let's take a look inward, right? How can you identify business opportunity internally? One way to do it is to identify your interests, skills, and experience, right? What are the passions that you have? What do you enjoy doing? And how can you potentially turn that into a business idea? What skills do you have? What expertise do you have? What are you really good at? What strengths do you possess? And how can this potentially be turned into a business opportunity? Now, there's a friend of mine that I know. She likes to make like crochets. Okay, she makes like crochet wares. She likes to knit. Like that's what we're always very familiar with. She loves knitting. It was just one day because of how good and fast she was. Someone just mentioned to her, I know they can actually turn this thing into serious money making engine. She said, I beg, it's just for fun, just doing it. She makes blankets. Before you know it, that idea sank deep. She started thinking about it. One day, she just decided to start making crochet wares in school. Crochet wares, crop tops, making like beach wears with crochets, and people were paying for it just by virtue of what one skill and an interest that she had. As as a working so there are a lot of people who probably have been in the workspace. They've been working. Um, oh my God, someone is writing on my screen. Please don't write on my screen. Please don't write on my screen. You're like going to distract me with that. Some people have worked somewhere, they identified a problem where they worked, and that was how they decided to start their own business. Very good example. Most of the fintech founders in Nigeria right now had worked in a bank before. At least eight of them worked in a bank before they built a fintech. They were working there, they were building experience, building their skills in XYZ, maybe something around, payment infrastructure, and then they were identifying gaps there. Ah, that was how Money Point started. They found a gap in the banking sector where settlement of payments took a long time to happen. They were in that space. They knew that they could do better, and that was why the founder of Money Point, eventually went to build that business. Same thing with the founder of Flutterwave. He was working in a bank, GTB to be precise. He worked there for a really long time. That was where he identified a problem, and then he took it from there and he built a business out of it, Flutterwave. A lot of people, so there's something they call now in the Nigerian startup ecosystem, they call it like the paystack mafia. What that means is that there are many founders today in the startup ecosystem that were formerly employees at Paystack. The, the founder of Child Deck was formerly an employee at Paystack. He worked at Paystack for a while. So do not underestimate if you are someone who is currently in paid employment. Do not underestimate your position. You are at an advantage. Identify issues within that business they are working for. And that could potentially turn into a business opportunity for you. Finally, hobbies. What are the things you like to do? I already gave an example of my friend who does crochet for hobby and how she now has an Instagram page where people are ordering crochet wares from her. She's making money out of it. Another way to identify business opportunity is by brainstorming and ideating. Now, there are different ways to go about brainstorming that we can discuss from now to tomorrow. If we begin to go into the details of it, we would not leave here today. I'm just going to breeze through it. Something called mind mapping. So, mind mapping is basically you draw a fundamental problem and you circle it, right? So, think about a white sheet of paper, and in the middle, I draw something like I I write something like 24-hour gym, and I circle it. Now, what mind mapping helps you do is you begin to map out different features, different ways you can potentially execute that idea. If you have a more um, surface level idea, so for example, you can say things like the hair making, okay? You circle it in the middle and you begin to use like lines to map out different ways that you can do hair making. You can begin to map out different things. That's way you are exposing you are keeping your mind really open to the vast possibilities of various ideas. If you give me a comment, like a word now and say, okay, praise, take something like say like cost of rent, for example, in Lagos, as a big problem you want to solve. Now, imagine thinking about various ways to execute solving the problem of the cost of rent. I can think about like sustainable materials for building. I can think about like leveraging or like transforming existing non-housing infrastructure like tanks into houses. I can think about expanding into bushes instead of actually building in major cities like the island and VI. How about you build on water? You begin to map different ideas. What that does for you is eventually you begin to see some things that make sense. But if you are brainstorming, don't limit yourself. No idea is stupid. Let yourself loose. Let your creative juices flow. Don't hold back. Continue to map out different things that you can possibly do with that problem. That's what mind mapping is about. You create mind maps to explore different business ideas and how they can relate to your interests and skills. Another way to do it is organizing brainstorming sessions with friends, family, colleagues, or generate new ideas. There was a video I saw on Instagram. Someone was saying that something that he does is they have a brainstorming like party where a group of friends they come together like once a quarter, and in a room there's a screen. Everybody comes and pitches an idea or expresses a problem that they're solving, and everyone is giving them ideas on how to go about it. That is one way to identify a potential business opportunity. You can come up, like maybe is someone is coming to discuss about their work and what challenge that they are facing in their workplace, and then people are coming up with different ideas. That way, one business idea can just spring up and then it snowballs into something big and big, and before you know it, you've already built a business out of it. That is also another way to identify business opportunity. There's something called the six thinking hats. The six thinking hat is a situation where you have a group of people together in a room and then you assign them various hats. So I have six friends, or like we're six in a room, and we just assign ourselves different hats. You wear the red hat, you wear the white hat, you wear the black hat, you wear the yellow hat, you wear the green hat. Now, the person who is wearing the white hat, your responsibility is basically only providing us with facts. Anything we say in this room, find the facts. If it's not factual, disagree. All right? The person who is wearing the red hat, you are the person who is just telling us about emotions only. Tell us how you feel about people's ideas, or tell us anything that we say today. Tell us how that makes you feel. So that person is providing emotional perspective to the conversation. whoever is wearing the black hat is the negative Nancy. What you are there to do is you are the devil, you are the devil's advocate. And it's a lie, it will not work. You are the one providing that perspective of of like what's it called now? So like what you're providing to that conversation is like providing perspective of people who have a closed mind. All right. You're always thinking about the negative things. Those things that you're thinking about or questioning about have
Pessimism, sir.
potential. Exactly. Pessimism. That's the word. Thank you very much. So you're the pessimistic person in that group. Everything you're doing, if they bring up and you say, it's not work, or how will you do it? Or that perspective can refine an idea and make it even better. Because the more you're questioning the feasibility of something, the more refined it gets. And that way, you just assign people different hats, and then everybody is bringing to bear on a specific topic. Let's say that what we want to discuss today now is reducing house rent in Lagos, and this is your idea. Let everybody in their thinking hats think about how it will play out in the grand scheme of things. That way, you begin to see a burst of ideas, a burst of perspective that can potentially lead to a business opportunity. And then finally, there's something called design thinking. This one, I love it so much because I love to do it a lot. So design thinking is basically a human-centered approach to problem solving. It involves empathy, ideation, prototyping, and testing. So what that does for you is the center focus of a design thinking approach is thinking about the person who that solution is designed for. So if you think about house rent in Lagos, who are you designing that solution for? A young working professional in Lagos is who you're designing that solution for. That way, it helps with different ideas that are centered on that person who you are building that solution for. If your solution is hairdressing for the underserved communities in Lagos, that is your focal point. Your ideas will revolve around that person who you're building that solution for. That is also another way to go about brainstorming and ideation. I hope these things have been exposing you to different ways you can identify a potential business opportunity that you can build upon. Now let's look for something else, or another way to identify business opportunity is looking for inspiration from other businesses. Now, you can, so how do I say this now? So the first way to go about this is through case studies. You take a successful business, for example. Like one business I think has been very successful, if you ask me, is Netflix. All right. What has Netflix done? What has Netflix done? They've basically taken like movies from the regular cassette and DVDs and made it into a digital product where you can watch movies via a subscription plan on an account, right? Now, you begin to study Netflix approach to that problem. Are there gaps that exist in their business? What makes them work? What makes Netflix work? Look at opportunities to improve and innovate on their existing models. Now, if you think about Netflix, in Nigeria, Netflix is not designed for the poor people. Netflix, people that use Netflix in Nigeria are the working class, people who have money, the rich people who have smart TVs, right? People that can afford smart TVs, people that can, you know, um, that have money to pay monthly subscription. All right. Can you think about a potential Netflix competition that is focused on the underserved people, people who do not have the money to buy smart TVs, people who do not have the money to pay for subscription or as much subscription as possible? How about, okay, now, so this is me now thinking out loud. Imagine a streaming platform that can take place on any TV or device. Okay? That means with your regular TV, it doesn't have to be a smart TV. By just installing an app or by scanning a QR code, you can get access into the platform. And then all you just need to do is maybe connect to the internet, right, from your phone, and this thing can be accessible to anybody regardless of their device, regardless of their location. This is just me thinking out loud. Now, this is how people come up with business ideas. You look at an existing business that has been successful, and then begin to question their models. Like, what are they doing well? What is working out for them? Are there ways to make this better? Nobody is creating Netflix for the Asaba movies. Do you know that people that watch Asaba movies are more than people that watch Netflix in Nigeria? People that watch African Magic, all this African Magic, oh, like Devil Key, this person, all those people that used to watch some movies, there are a lot of them. In fact, I dare say that they have a higher population than the people who watch Netflix movies.
I agree with you, sir.
Nobody is creating solutions for people who are watching Asaba movies. Okay, first, there is DSTV and GoTV, but by the day those things are getting higher, it's still subscription mode. It's still very similar to Netflix solution, and those guys are still making their money, even though there's Netflix. Imagine thinking about what is African Magic or DSTV doing that I can do better and make Asaba movies more accessible to even a more global audience. Do you know that there are people that watch African Magic out of Nigeria? There are people they enjoy watching African Magic. It's just that they don't have a way to go about it. Now, Showmax thought about streaming as well. They saw what Netflix is doing. They saw what Prime Video is doing. They saw what like Amazon and all those other streaming platforms are doing, but they still found a way around it. Now, what do? Showmax have specialized shows that only show on their platform. Showmax, there are a lot of other features that they included there. On Showmax, you can watch reality TV shows, but you can't watch as much reality TV shows on Netflix. For example, Showmax will stream football, but you can't stream football on Netflix. Showmax will stream Big Brother Nigeria, but you can't stream Big Brother Nigeria on Netflix. That was how the people who built Showmax, I believe that they did it. They looked at what is already existing. What are the successful models? And are there loopholes or gaps that we can fill? Are there areas that they are not touching? Are there unserved places that they are not reaching? How do we get there? And like that, a business idea is formed. Another way to go about it is looking at what the competitors are doing. Now you have a business, an existing business that you're doing, and then there are people who are also playing in that same space as you. They're your competitors. What are the competitors doing? What are the gaps that exist in their business, and how can I plug into it? There's Milo, there's Bonvita, there's Bama, there's Jago. There is, there is Peak Milk, there's Dano Milk. They are still selling, but what exactly is their differentiating factor? So you need to look at your competitors. If you're doing a fashion business where you're selling a fashion wares, you need to think about what are people already doing. If your business idea is to start up a fashion brand, don't just go and replicate another existing fashion brand. That's not a way to have a business opportunity. It has to eventually, you know, bring you money. And if you're going to stay competitive, you need to be what? Solving a solution, I mean a problem, filling a gap that exists. Because if you're just going to replicate an existing business, you tend to struggle most times. But when you're filling a gap, maybe in your locality, nobody is doing bespoke wares, two pieces that are classic wares, and maybe in a city like or like in an area like Ikorodu, for example, that's where you live. But maybe like if you go to the island, you see like more bespoke wares, the my Atafo people, all of that people. You cannot compete there because what? Like, except you have something completely different from what they are doing. If not, to gain market share in that kind of environment might be hard. What you can do as a business strategy is relocate your own business to somewhere where that thing is not very accessible, which is why we keep saying undeserved, like underserved needs, unmet needs. That is what you should be focusing on. Another way to find business opportunity is to test and validate ideas. Now, this one is I like this one the most because this one will give you raw data. You don't need anybody to tell you your idea is either stupid or nonsense. You have an idea, create a prototype. A prototype is also called like you also like you create a prototype or a minimum viable product, which is a sample, and test it in the market. Just take it and give somebody. So let's say your idea is to um like maybe to sell like puff puff in a more okay, let's talk about this creamy donut that came out that was turning Nigerians crazy one time. Milky donuts that was everywhere on social media. People were talking about it. That business sha could die. Or there was a time like when like yellow plates, they were doing this milky puff puff thingy, and it was really big on social media. Till today, the population of people that are eating the regular puff puff is 5 times greater than the people buying yellow plates puff puff that they put milk and Oreos. So test your products, see if there's an appeal for it. All right. In fact, that's even the best way to most times validate your idea. If it's that you have a service business, create a landing page, right? Where you're highlighting all the services that you have and just give it to people and just see what they have to say. People will give you very honest feedback and tell you what they think can do better. That way, you can refine your idea and make it even better. And before you know it, you have a business. Feedback and iteration is very important. Gather as much feedback from potential customers and continue to refine your idea based on their input. That's one thing that focus groups helps you do. A lot of companies don't play with focus groups. They take the product, they give it to you, eat it. Tell me what you think. And then people are giving feedback. They're improving it. They're making it better. Once they launch that product into the market, I can bet you dollars to donuts, they've gone through series of focus groups. So other ways to do it is to leverage technology. You can create now. Social media is now the new social commerce. On social media, you can sell and make money. You can make a lot of money. You can participate in online forums, social media groups, and communities related to your interest. This platform can be a great source of motivation. You know, of a business idea, and feedback from them can also help you, like come up with business ideas and find a business opportunity. There's something called crowdsourcing, like when you use platforms, like like I know that there's some digital products that are you can use to collect and gather ideas and validate potential business concepts, right? Leverage technology, and that way can help you identify a potential business opportunity. Explore your network, connect with people, professionals in your industries that are working on new ideas. That could be an avenue for collaboration. Seek feedback from your network or potential business ideas. A lot of people do not take advantage of their WhatsApp status. You're a business owner and you want to launch a new product, use your WhatsApp community as a first point of validation. Instead of posting memes, post your business. Let them give you feedback. All right. Another way to do it is seeking to solve everyday problems. That's one way to also find business opportunity. If you wake up in the morning, think about your daily routine. Observe and identify areas where a potential idea can come from. Pay attention to problems you encounter in your daily life. Think about how you can solve these problems through a business, right? There's something called DIY, do it yourself. I like to watch DIY videos a lot on TikTok and on YouTube because I find them very fascinating. The fact that you can do things on your own. So those videos when they tell you how to use like your old bottles to create designs on your like in your house, or use some things, just trying to make things better. Stuff that you'd have ordinarily thrown away, you can turn it into a solution. There was one very interesting video I saw. Um, this guy lives in the rural area. Okay, he like he does like plastering to houses and stuff. So he just came up with an idea. Instead of actually going to the sort of molding interlocks, Why do people do interlocks? It's because of, it gives you this very fine design. It's very smooth, it's cracky, it looks good, right? And then there's space, it's not slippery. That is why most people go for interlocks. So this guy, what he did was he would use like regular sand and cement and plaster this entire place and then use something to match on it, that it creates a very beautiful design and also has that feel of an interlock. You would most likely not know that that is not an interlock. At the time it is dried and it's done, you would doubt that it was just cement and sand because of how he went about it. That way, he came up with that idea and people have been patronizing his business. See, think about your very regular day problems. These things can turn to solutions. Consider if there are solutions you have created for yourself that could be turned into a business. There's one babe I follow on TikTok. She uses tire, like used old tires. She'll go to the vulcanizer. She'll take their old bad tires. She'll come back. She'll wash it, turn those tires into side tables, and people are paying for it. Crazy money. There's money to be made, guys. There's money to be made. Now let's look at when you've eventually identified a business opportunity. How do you evaluate it? How how do you evaluate it? Sorry, give me a minute. How do you evaluate a business opportunity when you have identified one? How do you evaluate it to be sure that this is a viable business opportunity? Now, there are a couple of ways to go about it. Evaluating a market or a business opportunity means analyzing and assessing a specific market or business idea to understand its potential for business opportunities. This process involves several key steps. Now, how do you go about evaluating a business opportunity? When you have identified a business opportunity, these are ways in which you can assess and valid and evaluate it to be sure that it is viable. One way to do it is through feasibility studies. So, what is a feasibility study? It's basically how feasible or how possible is the execution of this business opportunity. How easy or how possible is it to execute this business idea opportunity? How do you go about conducting a feasibility study? One is by external study. Conduct thorough research to understand the market size, the growth rates, the market share, and the players in that space. So, for example, I go back to my example of a 24 hours gym in Lagos. What is the market size? You need to identify how big is the market. Is it a big market that I can play in? Is the sector growing? Yes, the fitness industry is growing in Nigeria. Actually, a lot of people are getting to the consciousness of keeping fit. A lot of people go there for various reasons, to be very honest. People go to the gym for various reasons. We all know that. But then that industry is growing. Regardless of the reason, the industry is growing, right? Is there a market to share from? Yes, there is. It's a very big market that you can carve a niche for yourself. And who are the players? Think about the iFitness gym. It's only iFitness I always know. Is there any other big gym brand that you know about that is very solid that everybody knows about? It's only iFitness I can think about. There are some other local gyms, of course, but when you think about a gym you want to measure in Nigeria, it's mostly going to be iFitness. That's how to think about. So conduct a thorough study of the external environment. Do an internal study. Assess your own self. Do you have the available resources to do this business? Yes or no? Do you have the requisite raw materials? Do you have the talent, the people to execute this business? Do you have the finance to do it? Does this business require technology? If yes, do you have the technological capability to execute on that business? Do you have the capital? All of these things would help you assess your own internal abilities to execute that business. And then one way to do a two-factor authentication is to validate your feasibility study with an expert. If you have the opportunity to speak to an expert, tell them, this is what I've done. This is my external assessment. This is my internal assessment. I feel like I can do this business. Let them give you their own professional opinion. Let them think about your business to estimate the initial investment required. Potentially, they would give you their own expert opinion. And in the end, you would know if it's a go or no go situation. Another thing to also consider is the risk. Every business comes with a risk. This is not the previous risk I was talking about, where you talk about high risk but no mitigation strategies. No, these are basic business risk that exists, and you can mitigate this risk. Oh my God. Okay, so first risk to think about is market risks. What are the potential risks in this market, such as like market volatility, competition, changing consumer preference? You need to pay attention to these details. What are the potential risks of this market? If I go into the 24 hours gym business, for example, will Nigerians go to the gym by 2 a.m. in the morning? What is the ease of iFitness expanding their business to becoming a 24-hour gym in response to my own move? What is the regulatory, like, what is the, like, how can the market change in split seconds when I launch my business solution? These are some of the things you need to consider. Are consumer preferences changing? If I open a 24-hour gym now, will people stop going to the gym? Will there be a new solution to fitness that does not require physical exercise? These are some of the market risks you need to pay attention to. Assess your business ideas for this market risk. The next thing is look at the regulatory risk. This business I'm going into, this industry, are there very stringent regulatory requirements and expectations for my business? Are there? How do I mitigate them? Compliance issues, tax issues, how do I go about it? Another risk to pay attention to is operational risk. Evaluate risks that are related to operations, including supply chain disruptions, workforce challenges. Are you going to find the right people? If people want to leave your business, will they go and replicate your business there? How well should you expose your business strategies to your employees? There are many people that have left companies and they've stolen the business secret and they've taken it out there to go and give it to the competition. So you always need to assess for operational risk as well. Another assessment or way to evaluate your business opportunity is by doing a comprehensive competitive analysis where you look at who are your direct competitors, people that are in the same industry as you. Identify existing business offering similar products or services to you. What are they doing? How can you respond when they do something? For example, now, if I open my 24 hours gym, I know that my biggest competitor now is iFitness. Will iFitness respond immediately to what I'm doing and kill my business before it even starts? The answer to that is most likely. But what can you do to eventually respond back to their response to you? This is how businesses operate in the market. Look, do not underestimate your indirect competitors. Do not underestimate your indirect competitors. People that are indirect competitors are people who have alternative solutions to your problem, to the problem that you're solving. So, for example, in the fitness space, your indirect competitors are people that are selling healthy drinks, healthy foods. You don't need to go to the gym, eat this, eat that, and you don't need to do any physical exercise. Just take a walk and you're good. People are paying lots of money for iFitness subscription. Imagine that those guys that are indirect competitors are doing crazy adverts and coming up with new solutions that would eventually discourage people from going to fitness gym. How then will they do? How then would they? So you do not underestimate your indirect competitors. Now, you need to find your own competitive advantage. What is your competitive advantage as a business? Are you just going to replicate what every other person is doing, or are you going to do something even more differently? What is your competitive advantage? What sets your business apart from the rest? And how can you leverage it to attract customers? So now we have been speaking about it, 24 hours gym, 24 hours gym. What can you do beyond? You cannot just base your business solely on the idea of a 24 hours gym. What will your gym offer that another gym will not offer? If iFitness were spawned now, would they kill you? Would they kill your 24 hours gym before it even starts? Please give me a second. I need to drink water. I've been talking.
Okay, sir. Well done.
Yeah, thank you so
That's
much. I was losing my breath. My mouth was a bit
Well
dry.
done,
Yeah,
sir.
thank you. So, like I was saying, what sets your business apart and how can you leverage it to attract customers? Let your strategy not just be one thing that your competitor can replace and then you're out of business. Let your competition be something that is hard for your competitors to replicate. One thing I tell a lot of business owners in Nigeria is in Nigeria, we do not prioritize customer experience. I know a lot of companies say, oh, like customer service, customer experience, If you go to those businesses, their customer experience is always eventually shitty. Many times it's just for the gram, it's just for social media, it's just for the vibes. But when you look at it fundamentally, do they exactly have great customer experience? That was one thing that kills a lot of businesses in Nigeria. Doing things haphazardly. You don't care now. If you don't come to the someone else will come. The fastest way to grow your business is through loyalty. You see, loyal customers are your biggest marketers. I'm telling you the gospel truth. The best form of marketing, no matter the level of digital transformation that happens in this world today, the most efficient and the best form of marketing is word of mouth. If my mother comes to me and tell me there's this lady that sells the best egusi soup in my locality, I bet you dollars to donut I would want to try it. A lot of businesses in Nigeria underplay the place of customer experience. That is one thing that I feel like can transform a business from ground zero to ground 100. If you prioritize, see, if you take every customer like they're your only customer, imagine how they will feel. Customer experience? A lot of Nigerian businesses are dancing under that table. They will tell you, oh, we have a customer success manager. We have a we have a customer experience team. Call them on the phone and hear how they'll respond to you. Or maybe just just give them small drama. Their Nigerian character will come out in 3 seconds. You will be shocked. So please let your differentiating factor not be easily replicable. And then we have the final two, financial viability. Like we keep saying, the ultimate or the end goal of every business is to make profit, right? So there needs to be the financial viability for your business idea. You need to, you know, check if it's feasible to do your business. What are the potential risks associated with your business? What is what are my competitors doing? Is this business financially viable? When you think about financial viability, we speak about estimating the initial investment required for your business, calculate what your ROI is. ROI simply means your return on investment. What that translates to is if I invest 100,000 naira in this business, right? In how many years can I get 120,000? Or in how many months can I get 150,000 naira? Your return on your investment is the 50,000 naira on top of your initial investment of 100,000 naira. What is the payback period of this business or this investment you want to make? So for example, if I put in 2 million into this business, in how many years am I going to get that money back with an extra? It's also something called break-even point. Break-even point is when the cost of your business is equal to the revenue generated. So if you use 100,000 naira to do this business, at the end of that business, what you get is 100,000 naira, right? That is your break-even point. Anything above your break-even point is what is now termed as profit or return on investment. I hope that makes sense. So all of these considerations are things you need to pay attention to. Understand the financial sustainability of your business. If you're thinking about funding your business, what are the funding options available for you? One of the things that people always say is loans are one of the fastest way to kill your business. How do you achieve money? How do you get money? If you don't have the money to start up your business, how do you get it? Right? Now, don't one hey, this one is very important. One thing a lot of people I see a lot of people do, or when I ask somebody, oh, like this business, what haven't you said? I don't have the money. You don't have the money? You're not ready. If money is the reason why you have not started your business today, my friend, go and do something about it. Let money not be the reason why you haven't started your business. Let it be that you have not validated that your idea is solving a problem. Because see, if your business idea or your business is solving a fundamental problem, the money for it will come. How do you fund your business? Of course, the primary way is to go to like family and friends is usually the best way to go about people that will not give you a very high interest rate. You can take bank loans. They're not the most advisable, but if that's the only option, you need money to make money, my dear. You need money to make money. Some startup founders do not have the money to grow their business. What they look for are venture capitalists. They go and meet someone who has money and say, see, I have this business idea. If I launch it, I will give you 10x of what you gave me in 10 years. The VC's responsibility is to what? Assess the business. Oh, Kiniko, like they will do their own due diligence to ensure that they're not just throwing money to you and you're going to close down in 2 years. There's a lot of work that goes into a venture capitalist giving you money. There's a lot of work that goes into it. Another way to go about is government grant. This is free money. Government to give you, take, do business. There's a lot of like SME funding that the Lagos State government does a lot of times in a lot. I see them a lot of times. The LSCTF, they offer a lot of grants to SMEs, to businesses. A lot of people don't even know that these things exist. A lot of people don't even know how to go about it. A lot of people are very oblivious. If you have a potential business idea and you have done all the evaluations you need to do, and you said this is a solid business idea, go to the government and ask for grants. Many people don't know how to do it. Find a way. At the end of it, it has to be profitable. Estimate the amount of revenue the business will generate over a specific period of time by assessing the demand for the product or service, identifying ongoing fixed and variable costs to get a net profit. At the initial stage of a business, you most likely run at a loss, but let the future projection be that it will eventually turn into profit that will cover up for the losses that you've had. Finally, growth and innovation. This one I added it here because it's very important. Your business should not be something that is easily. I'm telling you this thing. This is what throws a lot of people out of business. Let there be always be room for creativity in your business. Don't have a fixed mindset. Let your business always create room for innovation. If you're employing people, don't be the kind of founder or CEO or business owner that will tell them, do it the way I said you should do it. If you do it out of this way, I'll fire you. See, that way, new ideas will not come in. Your employees or people who you're working with to build that business are also inspiration for potential business elevation and business opportunities that can transform your business from ground A to ground zero. Don't be a business owner with a closed mindset. Let there always be room for new ideas, new initiatives, and new opportunities. Your business may be under threat if your model can be easily replicated. What? Now, this one is also very important. Think locally. Sorry, grow. What I meant, there's a way they say grow locally, think globally, right? They say that charity begins at home. When you start your business in your local environment, let you be successful first. Yes, you're thinking globally, but have you sorted out your local market, right? Sort out your local market, conquer it first before thinking about expanding, right? So grow locally, think globally. Once you're ready to expand, always think about business expansion. If you're the kind of person that just want to build, is the way it is, oh, from year to year, no innovation, no growth plan, nothing, you would remain where you are. But if you want a business opportunity that can fundamentally transform your life, is a business that has room for creativity and innovation, a business that is thinking about expansion. One thing the Igbos do a lot when you think about the Igbo apprenticeship system, is the culture of expansion. The Nwa boy framework is something that an Igbo man uses to extend his hand. You see an Igbo man, you like be in a shop in Onitsha, for example, and then he has trained somebody, and then he opens another branch somewhere and tells someone that he has trained to go and stay there. That is how to grow a business. Expansion is very important. Don't be a business owner that is fixated on the way it has always been. You want to just remain in one place. No, let there always be room for growth. I feel like you guys might be tired now. So maybe we can take a few minutes break and then come back, say by 12. Um, or if you want me to keep going, I'm almost done with my slides. So we can finish this session once and for all and everyone can go and rest. Like what do you guys think? I'm not just doing this on my
Yeah,
own.
I would suggest we keep going. It's flowing,
Yes,
so I would
I would
suggest we
suggest
keep.
we
Let's
finish.
just
Oh,
keep going and finish.
All
I
of
would
you
suggest
guys
we
keep going.
finish.
Okay, cool.
Your decision is okay, sir.
Okay, all
Let's
right,
take a
good.
rest, sir. Your decision is okay, sir.
Okay, one person said to take a rest. So I think we'll just maybe do a few minutes. So let's come back, say by 11:45. I have a concern around my battery though. You know what, guys? I would please ask that we continue because I don't want my battery to go down
Let's
before
continue,
I
sir.
finish. Okay, good. So please, for everyone who wants to take a break, please bear with me. Someone's mic is unmuted. Ojara, Babatunde, your mic is unmuted. So please ensure that your mic is always muted. Okay. So just for the sake of my battery, guys, please let's just keep going because I don't want to be cut abruptly uh, during my session. Okay. So now we have looked at these 5 ways to evaluate a business opportunity: feasibility study, risk assessment, competitive analysis, financial viability, growth, and innovation. Let's look at some very common frameworks that people use to evaluate a business idea or business opportunity. There's something called the SWOT analysis. SWOT stands for strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. This framework helps businesses assess their internal capability and external factors that may impact their performance. Now, remember when I said like feasibility studies, one way to do a comprehensive feasibility study is using the SWOT analysis framework. You look at like, what are my strengths, what are my weaknesses, what are the opportunities that I have, and what are the threats to my business. That's one way to, it's one framework a lot of business owners use to evaluate a business opportunity. I have an example on SWOT analysis. You see that moving forward. So there are a lot of them. There's a personal like analysis, but I only picked 2 that I'm going to show you. And then if you want to learn more, you can go and do your own research for that. But now I've given you an idea what it is, right? I'm only going to discuss in detail SWOT analysis and the business model canvas. SWOT analysis stands for strengths, weaknesses, and opportunities and threats. This framework helps businesses assess their internal capabilities and external factors that may impact their performance. The PESTEL analysis also is another framework that is used to evaluate a business idea. It stands for political, economical, social, technological, environmental, and legal factors that your business requires. This framework really helps businesses to understand the broader external environment in which they operate. So this one is more tilted towards the external environment. If you want to understand the external environment of your business, of your industry, or the business idea you want to do, the PESTEL analysis framework would help you do that. Now, we have the most analysis. Sorry, I skipped one. We have the Potter's 5 forces. People are writing on my screen. Please stop writing on my screen, please. Guys, I'm going to reshare my screen because I have a lot of people writing on my screen. Stop share. I'm going to please stop writing on the screen. It really helps us focus. Uh, Share full screen. Please let me know if you can see my screen.
No, sir, not yet. Okay,
Yes, we
the,
can
the
see it
screen
now.
just came
I
up.
can see your screen, sir.
Okay, good. Please stop writing on my screen. Thank you, Stat. We don't lose people. Okay.
No,
I was
kini fly.
Habib Jimo, your mic is unmuted. Please mute your mic. Okay. The Potter's Five Forces is another evaluation framework you can use to evaluate your business. This framework is used for analyzing the competitive intensity and attractiveness of an industry. Now, you see what I have done here? I have shown you what you need to do. I've told you that you need to do a feasibility study, a risk assessment, a competitive analysis, a financial viability analysis, and growth and innovation, right? These five key metrics is used to evaluate a business idea. Now I'm showing you frameworks that you can use to do it, okay? So I already explained to you to assess your internal and external strengths, use the SWOT analysis, which is speaking about the feasibility study. If you want to understand the competitive landscape or the external environment of your business, you can use the Porter Five Forces or the Pestel analysis. So the Five Forces is used to analyze the competitive intensity and attractiveness of an industry. It helps businesses understand the forces that shape industry competition. There's all, so the fourth one is called the MOST analysis, stands for mobilize, organize, synthesize, and transform. Now, this one is used for strategic planning, right? How do you mobilize your resources? How do you organize it, synthesize it, and then transform it to result to value, right? It is used for strategic planning. Now, this one is the most common one, the business model canvas. This one will help you do everything that we've discussed, from finance to growth and innovation to feasibility to competitive analysis to risk, to help you look at everything all at once. The business model canvas is a strategic management and lean startup templates or business templates in this case for developing new or documenting existing business model. It is a visual chart that with elements describing a firm's value proposition, infrastructure, customer. You see that in more detail. And then finally, we have scenario planning. This one is very interesting. You create various scenarios. You can also think about it like a focus group too. You can create various scenarios. So this involves creating detailed narratives about possible future events to prepare for different potential outcomes. So as a business, you think about different scenarios. Like for example, now, no business saw COVID coming. Imagine a forward-thinking business has thought about what if there was a time when people can no longer go to work. You just create different scenarios. For example, now, a very big example now is that what if it comes to a time where in Nigeria you can no longer use like dollar for business again because like $1 is like 1 million. What are you going to do? If your business is heavily reliant on exports, you have to figure out a way to start thinking about like local solutions or manufacturing because you know things can happen. So scenario planning is a way for businesses to also think about the future and create scenarios and mitigation plans in case of eventualities happening in the future. So when you anticipate a change, for example, like nobody saw COVID coming, nobody saw work from home coming. As of 2019, I can bet you nobody was thinking about working from home anywhere around the world until COVID happened. All right. So scenario planning is also another framework that people use to, evaluate their business idea. So this is an example of a SWOT analysis for a healthy drink business in Nigeria. I want you to see an example of how to do a SWOT analysis. You know how we say that SWOT speaks to strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. All right. Now, when you think so, like think about yourself as a business owner, right? Think about it as a business owner. You have a healthy drink business. So you make very healthy smoothies, you make like carrot drinks, You make like tiger nut drinks, like hibiscus flower drink, very healthy stuff. Green shake, green smoothies, things like that. That's your business, right? So this is a SWOT analysis for that kind of business. Now, what are the strengths of this business? Health consciousness, increasing awareness about health and wellness among Nigerians is a very fundamental, because see, as long as human beings continue to live on this earth, they want to remain healthy. So that's a strength for your business. You're doing something that people want to um, associate themselves with. You're using natural ingredients, right? It's your strength. I'm just discussing, my product is purely natural. You don't need any artificial, like, you don't need anything like additives or preservatives, purely natural. I make, so you can just put it in your communication. I use locally sourced ingredients, which, you know, helps your body, stay strong and healthy. I don't use fruits that you just find on the road. I use the finest berries, just put it in your communication so that you sell more. Those are the strengths of your business. It's an innovative product. If you think about it, it's innovative, right? I like to describe it as innovative because it offers you a variety of unique and innovative health drinks. People do drinks with ginger drink. You can literally form anything. You can just call it like carrot, ginger and carrot combo, right? Variety. You can just do like watermelon and spinach drink. As far as Isha sweets, you can go together. You can just sell it and into go. You can be creative with it. All right. And then healthy drink business brand reputation can also be a strength for them. So if your business, if you have a very strong brand, that can also serve as a strength for you. Now, weaknesses of this business is that if you're using all natural ingredients, it's very costly. Your cost of production is going to go high, right? So that is also a weakness of your business. So if you think about a weakness, I want you to think about what is a potential mitigation strategy for this weakness that my business or my business idea has. Okay. If you identify weaknesses to your business idea or a business opportunity that you're working on, think about, how do I turn this weakness into a strength? So for this healthy drink business, there is limited distribution channels in Nigeria because I don't know why nobody is solving for effective distribution in Nigeria. That's such a big problem for businesses in Nigeria. Distribution. It's a very chaotic and annoying problem that people have tried to solve, but nobody is cracking it yet. So it's also like a challenge for a healthy drink business because if you can't get your healthy drinks to your customers on time, it might get spoiled on the road, you know? So like imagine that in some countries they might even have a cold delivery mechanism where you can transport healthy drinks in a cold box that will keep their freshness and preserve them from spoiling. Those things are not very available in Nigeria. So how would a healthy drink business survive? If someone, so for example, now if like you don't have an effective distribution channel in Nigeria that you can send your drinks to Ibadan, Ondo, Akure, and make money from there, you are most likely going to be limited in Lagos. Even in the same Lagos self, you can send out a tiger nut drink to a customer, and before the delivery person will get to the customer, the drink has already, like, it's already cold, it has defrosted, or all that kind of stuff, and then it might affect the overall experience that the person would have had for your product if it's cold and fresh. Do you understand my point? So that can be a weakness. Think about how do you solve that problem. Consumer skepticism. Most people in Nigeria are skeptical about healthy drinks. They feel like people are lying about what they say that they are selling. I'm not gonna lie, I'm inclusive. I used to feel like all this healthy stuff people are selling. Are they really selling healthy stuff, or they're putting something inside just to make money? Because how exactly are you making money? You're using finest fruits to do it. Then there's also regulatory hurdles, like things around like getting like NAFDAC number, like standards organization of Nigeria to stamp your product, and people having skepticism about the credibility of your product is also a weakness that people face. So how do you navigate to that regulatory issues in Nigeria. When you think about opportunities for your business, the healthy and I said this before, the health and fitness industry is growing significantly big in Nigeria. People are getting more aware of health, of keeping healthy, keeping fit. So it's a good opportunity for you when you think about it. It's a growing market. You can have partnerships with gyms, health clubs, wellness centers to promote your product. A lot of gyms have fridges in them, and if you go to those fridges, you will not see Coke and Fanta. What you see there will be healthy drinks. So you can have partnerships even with restaurants too. The place, the Mega Chicken, you can put your healthy drinks there, and you see now if you go to those like restaurants, you see a lot of healthy drinks in their fridges as compared to before. So now you see pineapple juices. You see Zobo in all these fast food restaurants now. So you can partner with them to grow and expand your business. There's an opportunity for you to export your product. If you have good delivery service, though, you can export your product out of Nigeria, maybe to like other countries in Africa. You can leverage e-commerce, right? You can put your product on so many marketplaces now. Child Day, on Glovo, you can supply to people who will see your product online. These are opportunities for your business when you think about it. Now, when it comes to threats, you're thinking about severe competition from people who have established beverage brand. Till tomorrow, Nigerians will still drink Coke. Till tomorrow, you are still competing against Coca-Cola, you're competing against Fanta, you're competing. So competition is very intense. It's just a few people that are now getting to that point where they're saying, I'm no more doing soda. Even people that are saying that I'm no more, some of them will go and hide and drink the soda and come out and be doing fitness. I know one person particularly. They will go and hide and drink Coke and come out and be doing, fitness. Like, a lot of people are like that. So you're still in competition with these big dogs. Economic instability, we all know this one. This is a regular problem in Nigeria. Fluctuations, dollar to naira, issues everywhere. Transport, cost of things are getting high. So this is not a very, it's a really big threat for most businesses now in Nigeria. Our economic instability is affecting lots of businesses in Nigeria. There are a lot of regulatory changes, things around, health stuff in Nigeria. Food and beverage regulations are coming up every day, impacting your goods and your production. Supply chain disruption will continue to be a problem for food and health product or manufacturing product in Nigeria because what? There's always risk, delay in delivery, delay in everything, issues everywhere. So these are potential threats of a healthy drink business in Nigeria. I hope you have seen how to do a comprehensive SWOT analysis of your business. So when you think about a business, think about leveraging the SWOT analysis to identify areas such as your strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats to help you devise a more comprehensive strategy for your business. Now, another framework is the business model canvas. Now, I'm always trying to specify it to a business so you can see how it works, right? So a business model canvas have multiple metrics. You look at key partners, key activities, your value proposition, your customer relationship, and so many other things that you need to consider. So when you have a business model, you would always have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 10 considerations to look at. So for key partners, it's asking you, for this your business now, who are you going to partner with to execute this business? For an agri business, they need to partner with farmers, they need to partner with agricultural suppliers, research institutions, government agencies, industry associations for knowledge sharing, technology transfer, and market access, right? You need to have these key partnerships for your business to survive as an agri business. What are the key activities that you continuously do in your business? You need to invest in research and development, R&D. You need to be involved in production and formulation. You need to do marketing and sales. Very important to do marketing and sales. These are the key activities of your business, advisory services. What are the key resources that you need? Research and development capabilities, which is what? Hiring people who can do research. You need to have proprietary technological infrastructure. You need to, be very grounded in breeding and biotechnology platform. So this is specific to an agri business, right? And it can change by virtue of which area of agri you're focusing on. right? So the key thing is just to identify these key metrics. So when you think about your key, like your key partners, think about your key partners that are specific to your business idea. For value proposition, what is your unique selling point? What are you giving to people that is not already in the market? So for this business, they said that, oh, they are giving high performing seeds to people who are planting. So that I said this is specific to an agri business that supports farmers, right? So they provide them with high performing seeds, crop protection chemicals, and digital farming technologies. They provide these things to farmers. Who are their key customer relationship? Agronomic support, technical assistance, training programs, and digital platforms are some of their customer relationship. How they relate with their customers is what this thing means, right? They relate to their customers through trainings. They relate to their customers by providing digital platforms for training. They relate to their customers through technical assistance when they need it and agronomic support to their customers. What are the channels in which they deliver their solution? Direct sales, like retail partnership, online. This is how do they sell or reach their customers? How do they get their product from point A to point B? Through what channels do they reach their customers? Is what we're asking here. So direct sales, online platforms, like some have retail partnerships and government collaboration, right? These are the channels through which they reach their customers. Who are their customer segments? Who are you targeting? They're targeting farmers, agricultural cooperative, distributors, and government. What is the cost structure of this business? They will spend money on research and development. They will spend money on manufacturing. They will spend money on marketing and distribution. They will spend money on sales commission, agronomic support, and regulatory compliance. How will this business make money? What are your revenue streams? You are selling your seed, crop protection, chemicals, and digital farming solutions to farmers. You're selling licensing agreements to farmers. You are providing consulting services and they're paying you for your time. And you're also participating in collaborative research projects, which might lead to returns eventually. These are the various ways you can evaluate your business using the business model canvas. All right. Now let's look at how do you know how big a business opportunity is. Now that we have discussed how to identify a business opportunity, we have discussed how to evaluate a business opportunity. We now want to look at how big is the opportunity. How would you know that this opportunity is a big opportunity for you to really, really like double down on, right? Now, how do you analyze a market demand? You need to first of all analyze the market. For you to know how big a market is, you need to analyze the market demand. And how do you do this? There's something called TAM, SAM, and SUM. TAM stands for your total addressable markets. So for those who might not really understand what I'm trying to say is, we're trying to look at when you find an idea, you have evaluated it and you know that it is feasible for you to do. How can you estimate the kind of money you will make in that business eventually? How can you tell that, in 5 years, I should be making around 30 million in this business, like give or take? This is how to do it. You need to analyze the market demand to know if you can make money through this business. So your total addressable market represents the broadest measure of your market size and estimate the total revenue opportunity available if you achieve 100% market share. Now, all this I say is English. I would explain it in more understandable terms, but just follow me. So, the total addressable market is speaking to if you want to find the total addressable markets for gym, for fitness, or for people who would eventually be in the health and fitness space, you need to think about everybody that can potentially be a fitness person. That is one example. Another example is if you're thinking about the total addressable markets for a business like Child Deck, now, for example, what is the possible amount of people that they can reach in the entire world. We can say everybody that has a digital device is the total addressable market of child tech. As long as you have a device and you can download their app, you can be a potential customer to child tech if you're in the right environment. That is their total addressable market. Who are the entirety of the possibility of the solution, if that makes sense, is what is described as the total addressable market. Now, we now come down to the serviceable available market. This now narrows down your term. So you are taking it from the big stage and you're bringing it down to now identify which one will now be your own target audience. So now we have said that everybody, okay, let's just say a very good example of this would be for the fitness industry, your total addressable market is every human being in the world who is fit, who has two legs and can walk and can do everything they can do, not people who are disabled, because those people cannot do, I mean, well, if you think about it, you can even design fitness programs for them. So every human being in the world is your total addressable market. But can you serve every human being in the world? No. Possible, right? You cannot serve everybody in the world. You have to narrow it down. That then leads us to what? Your serviceable available market. Now, you're now narrowing down that big bucket into a smaller one and say, how can I narrow down these total people to now get the people that it is possible for me to service? I will not say, for the fitness industry, people I can potentially reach will be everybody in Nigeria. Out of the many people in the world, right now, the way I'm seeing myself, I can reach everybody in Nigeria potentially if I have all the right things in place. Or I can say I can reach everybody in West Africa potentially with my solution, right? You are narrowing down your total addressable market to the portion of the market that your business can target and serve based mostly on geographical metrics, demographic metrics, or product specific factors. Right? So if you do not narrow it down by geography, you can narrow it down by demography and say, oh, because if I want to be different in this fitness industry, my fitness will focus on people with disability. You know, I have narrowed it down by demography. Some people will say, oh no, my gym will be strictly for women gym. You will narrow it down to females only. You have narrowed it down by demography. Some people will say, I'll narrow my own down to only children gym, right? You're narrowing down by demography. Now, we've spoken about narrowing down by geographic footprints. Now, you can also narrow down by demography. You can say this gym will be for only working class professionals. You've narrowed it down by what? By demography. Now, that is bringing it down a bit further. You're understanding, okay. So, total sizable people that I can most likely service are people within this demography, right? We have understood that. Now, the main cocoa, the one that we are most interested in, is your serviceable obtainable market, where you are further refining your SAM, serviceable available market, to a portion of that market that your business can realistically, keyword is realistically capture, considering your business capabilities, considering the competition, and considering your market position. Who are the people that you can realistically right now capture? So let's say I have narrowed it down to by geography. I'll say, oh, potentially capturing everybody in West Africa with my service by this market. Okay, but I'm going to start with Nigeria. Your focus for your business is now Nigeria. Or you can say, I'm going to start with Lagos. Or I'm going to start with Ikorodu. That will now be what? My SAM. Okay, so SAM is still serviceable available market. So where I'm showing you how you can narrow down by geography. Let's say that your TAM is the whole of Africa. You can narrow down by geography and say, you can say West Africa, you can say Nigeria, or you can say Lagos as your SAM. Now, for your serviceable obtaining market, what is realistically possible for you to reach are people, I'll not say, out of the whole people in Lagos, maybe I can reach 5% of them because what? There are other players in the market. Based on my business capability, I don't have the capability to reach many people as I want to reach. Based on the market position now, I might be only able to capture realistically 5% of this SAM that are in Lagos. That will now form your serviceable obtaining market. That will now form the basis of your business strategy to reach those people that you have said you reach. Now that I've explained this thing to the best way I think I can, let me show you an example so that you to bring it home. Now, these are examples of how a business has shown you their TAM SAM sum. Take the first example. This is TAM SAM sum of fast food restaurants. This example is for to find the TAM SAM sum of fast food restaurant. The total available market is what? Worldwide fast food restaurant market. And many times you can find this information of your TAM on the internet through secondary sources like reports to tell you the number of fast food restaurants in the world, or the number of fast food restaurants in Lagos, or the number of fast food restaurants, all these are available data already. When you find it through a certain report and say, oh, fast food restaurants in Lagos, my TAM becomes what? The worldwide fast food restaurants, right? That I can potentially reach. But my serviceable available market will now be fast food restaurants in 2 cities, Lagos and Abuja. That is my SAM. Now, of my SAM, I cannot eventually reach all of them, but these are people that are within my reach, right? I can get to all the fast food restaurants in Lagos if I have the capabilities to do it. And I can get to all the fast food restaurants in Abuja. But these are very big goals. You need to be realistic. Of that, your SAM, I'll not say, okay, my serviceable available markets for a food ordering app that I have, for example, would now be fast food restaurants without competitors, which is even hard to narrow down. I would say 5% of restaurants, of fast food restaurants, or 10% of fast food restaurants in Lagos and 20% of fast food restaurants in Abuja will be my serviceable obtainable market. People that I'm going to focus on reaching based on what? My capabilities, based on my knowledge of competition, which I have gathered from evaluating my business idea, and based on my market position. I can say with my full chest that I can reach 10% of fast food restaurants in Lagos with my strategies, and I can reach 20% of fast food restaurants in Abuja with my strategies. Some people take it a notch higher by saying, oh, of that your serviceable, obtainable market, which people can you reach in 10 days? Which people can you reach in 1 year? Which can you reach in 2 years? You can put a timeline to it. Another example to bring this home is you want to reach, like I have an app, Child Deck, and I'm saying that my total addressable market is the 1 billion adults with smartphone. Okay, no, this one is for like a legal solution, right? I have a legal app to help you come up with legal response to regulations in Nigeria, for example. That's the app I'm building, for example, or that's the business idea I have. And I want to find my total addressable market. I'll not say my total addressable market is the 1 billion adults with smartphones that are looking for legal advice worldwide. Of these people, I'm looking to target as my sizable people I can potentially reach will be 100 million people in the middle and upper class who look for legal advice on the internet. Now, I'm being more specific for who my target audience is. Now, of these same people, I want to capture 1% that market as my total address, total service, obtainable, serviceable obtainable market. Okay. How did they get this 1 billion? Is by multiplying what could be the potential cost of your solution or service by the number of people you can potentially reach. So for 1 billion people, assuming an average cost paid of $30 per person, they should be able to reach 5 billion in term. Of the 100 million people that are looking to reach, they should be able, if you multiply it by $30 per person of that 100 million, you should be getting something around 2 billion. And for your sum, if you capture 1% of that market, you should be getting 100 million. I feel like this number on this slide is not very correct, but we'll see a more like relatable example now. I have done my own. So I got these images on the internet. I found it on the internet, and I thought it was very interesting to explain tam sum. Now let's do the one that we can relate to, the one that all of us know. Now we want to estimate the tam sum of a food business in Ikorodu, Nigeria. This is where we are focusing on. To estimate the tam sum of a food business in Ikorodu, Nigeria, for the TAM, how do we calculate the TAM? We need to look at the potential. We need to look at the population of Ikorodu and say, I found on the internet actually that there are approximately 700,000 people living in Ikorodu, Nigeria. 700,000 people are living in Ikorodu. Okay. Now, to find what is the potential TAM, I would say my total addressable markets are the 700,000 people in Ikorodu is my TAM. And if I say that each person spends roughly 500 naira a day on food, right? If I'm able to get to that entire 700,000 people in Ikorodu and they spend 500 naira a day on food, my daily TAM would be around 350 million. My monthly TAM, if I multiply my daily gain by 30 days in a month, I should be getting around 10.5 billion naira in 1 month. And at the end of the year, multiplying that monthly by 12, which is 12 months in a year, I should be getting around 126 billion naira in sales. This is my annual TAM. Now, let's narrow down to get our SAM. Okay, this is one now. Assuming that your food business can serve the entire Ikorodu West area. So now we have narrowed down by what? Geography. We have narrowed down by geography and say, oh, we're going to focus on Ikorodu West, not the entire Ikorodu. Now, assuming a total population of 150 people live in Ikorodu West, that then becomes my SAM. Those 150 people have an average spend of 500 naira daily. In a year, I would get, sorry. So let's say 150 people, yes, it's correct. So 150 people in Ikorodu West spend 500 naira every day. my daily SAM would be, okay, I should have like broken it down the way I did here, so it's like you understand it even better. So this is not um please forgive me. I was trying to finish up this slide, and I wasn't patient to break it down the way I've done in the first instance. So let's do the maths together. Please bring out your calculator and let's know if every day, if every day sorry, give me a second. Oh my God, sorry. I need to attend to something quickly. Jesus Christ. Sorry, I'll say. So my daily SAM by geography location would be 150 people, 150,000 people spending 500 naira a day would be around, right? Yeah, that's very correct. 150 people times 500 naira a day is around 75 million naira, okay, per
Do you
day.
mean 150,000 people?
Yes, 150,000 people
People.
spending 500 naira a day. Hmm? That brings us to a daily amount of 75 million naira a day. If 150 people spend 500 naira a day on food. These are just all assumptions. This is how to go about thinking about. So, but for your own business, you have to be very realistic and say what is possible for my business or what is not. Okay? What is possible for business and what is not. Um, Jesus Christ, there's a problem. Why is this thing happening? Okay, so of that 75 million, if you multiply it by 30 days, it gives you how much?
Two billion 250 million.
Absolutely. And then if you multiply that by 12, it gives you your annual SAM.
27 million. 27 billion.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for that. So please just correct that. I was trying to quickly do this without like eventually breaking it down, but I'll correct the slides in the coming days. So you can choose to break down your sum by demography. You can choose to break down your sum by demography, whereby you can choose to do it by working class, smartphone owners, and then it helps you narrow it down. At the end of the day, your serviceable obtaining market is your market, is what you're aiming to have as your share of that market. Most times you have to also be realistic and say, how much of this market can I capture? How much of this market can I eventually capture? And that's why I said, assuming you can capture 1% of your SAM, this is how much you make annually. So if you do the math, like if you get the correct annual sum for the SAM, please forgive me for that error, and you calculate 1% of that SAM, that should give you what should be your potential business expectation at the end of the year. I hope that helps to understand the whole concept of TAM SAM sum. Now, I'm I'm running out of time. I'm going to quickly move into the next like the next concept, which is how do you go about market sizing? How do you size your market? Now, there are three major ways to do a comprehensive market sizing. You can size your market using a top-down approach, which is what we have done now with the term sum. We went from the big box, we narrowed it down to the next small box, and then we narrowed it down to the tiniest box, which is which we believe that we can capture. That is done using the top-down approach. Start with a broad estimate of the market size and narrow it down using industry data, reports, and expert opinions to categorically say, this is how much of the market that I can capture, or this is the size of the market that I can capture. The next approach is called the bottom-up approach. You don't come from the big picture and narrow down. There's a different approach to it. Okay, so you start. Someone is speaking. Someone was speaking.
I was going to say I couldn't hear you anymore.
Oh, okay. Hear me now. Okay, so start with specific data points such as sales figures. So for the bottom-up approach, this one, most people prefer the bottom-up approach because it is more realistic than the top-down approach. So that, and this top-down approach is a lot of assumption goes into it. I mean, you can start off not assuming by having a source. So for example, for your term, most likely you would need a source that references the entirety of that market. So if it's the fitness industry, find the report that speaks about what is the total fitness like industry market size like. So you need to have a source to reference for the start, and then you begin to narrow based on your own assumptions. But the bottom from like the bottom up approach is a bit more realistic because you start from the ground level. You start from the business level and then you work it up to find what the total market size would be. I have an example of the bottom up approach and we'll see it in the next slide. But just before I go into the next slide, the final market sizing technique a lot of people use is what we call a comparative market analysis, where that is very simple. If you are like coming into a new market, for example, or you want to start something new in a market, you look at another sector or a different country that has a similar market and find information about that market, and that can help you replicate it in your own market. Paying attention to specific nuances and differentiators that are peculiar with your own market. But for example, a lot of people compare the African market with the Indian market a lot because of what? Population, because of what? They have a high number of poor people, which is very synonymous with Nigeria. So they can take a solution that has succeeded in India and assume that it will succeed in Nigeria if they take into effect some specific nuances around our own markets. That solution should fly in the Nigerian market. So the data, the information they have about the Indian market can most likely function in Nigeria because of similarities in market. So that's also another way to go about comparing of doing market sizing. Some people will tell you, oh, if you're making XYZ amount in India, we should be able to make XYZ amount in Nigeria because of its very similar market. Do you understand my point? So that's also another way to go about market sizing techniques to be able to quantify specifically what is the size of the opportunity that you have identified. Now let's look at the bottom up approach example. We're now going to estimate the market size for a male clothing brand at the University of Lagos using a bottom up approach. Estimating the market size of a male clothing brand at the University of Lagos using a bottom-up approach. Now, this is an entrepreneur that wants to start up a male clothing brand in Unilag using a bottom-up approach. The first step is to determine the target market. We're looking at what? Male students. Given the focus on male clothing, we'll target male students. You have to decide on an age range. So let's consider a typical age range for undergraduate and postgraduate students to be around 18 to 30 years. Now you're slowly getting in the picture of who you want to target. Male students within the age of 18 to 30. The next step is to what? Estimate their market penetration. What is the percentage of male students to female students based on general demography? we're assuming that in University of Lagos, male to female demography is 50-50. I don't know I don't know, but if you're doing this for your business, you need to go and do market research to find what the actual demography is, so that you're not just using assumption, you are using specific data points. All right. So if you now assume that the demography is 50-50, you can now say, okay, what is the percentage of male students likely to purchase a male clothing? So you consider factors like fashion consciousness, disposable income, and local cultural norms. And you now conservatively give an estimate and say, okay, if Unilag has 50% of their students, right? And of that 50%, maybe 50% of them will be able to afford to buy clothing in school because of they have money, right? That is a logical estimate of your market size, right? So once you have this data, you then move over to the third step, which is what? What is the total male students in Unilag? You will now do the maths. We already assumed that in Unilag we have 50 to 50. So 50 female, 50 male. Now, you have done your research and you now know that there are 300,000 students in Unilag. All these things are assumptions. Like I said, for your own business, you have to use facts, find out, research what the actual number is, so that your business is not based on assumption. So let's assume that there are 300 students in Unilag. We know that we're targeting what? 50% of that population, which are the males. It means that we're going to have 150 male students that are our potential targets. Now, remember we said that of that 50%, not everybody will be able to afford to buy clothing in school because of not everybody has money to spend on clothing. We are assuming that only 50% of that market, is able to afford to buy that clothing. We'll then say, or let's say 70% of them will be able to afford to buy clothing. We'll now say our potential customers, therefore, will now be 70% of that 150 male students will now become our potential customers. We have now narrowed it down from a bottom-up approach. So you're seeing how we're going from the granular details to now even more holistic detail, from who are the target audience, their age range, we assumed their population size, we assumed that not all of them will be able to afford it, and then we're able to now find data on the population of students in Unilag to now eventually narrow down to the number of customers we can potentially have in this university. The next step now is to estimate what is the frequency of purchase. Now, this is a very fundamental, is very peculiar to this market that we're in. All right, it's very peculiar to this case study. Now, for clothing, we know that people don't buy clothes every day. Clothing is something you buy maybe like once a month or twice a month. So you need to pay attention to the specifics of the market you're playing in and know what works in that market. For example, if this was a food business, we're not going to be estimating like 1 month or 2 months. We're going to be estimating every day, because human beings eat what? Every day. So this has to be peculiar to the market that you're solving for. So the purchase frequency, now we consider that how often do students buy clothes in the university? How often do students buy new clothes in the university? A reasonable estimate would be 3 to 4 times per year. And we're now also going to assume what is the average spend per purchase for a cloth, for a student that a student can spend on a clothes, right? So Nigeria, now we can say that to buy a shirt and a trouser now, most likely students are willing to part away with like 10,000 naira for a shirt and a trouser. Okay. If you now have that idea, you know that people can spend 10,000 naira for one cloth and shirt every quarter. Okay. That then gives you an idea and say, if I price my clothes at say 8,000 naira, right? Students might be willing to buy a bit more, and I can potentially assume that they will buy instead of every quarter, because if I've saved them 2,000 naira, they will buy like 5 times a year instead of 4 times. All these things just thinking about it logically, right? So, but for the sake of this class, we're going to focus on this one and say that it depends on the type of clothing that we're selling, really. And it also depends on your brand positioning. For a mid-range brand, an average spend of, say, so for this example, it's supposed to be Naira. So please forgive me. I'm going to correct all of this. So, let's say that is like a student will spend 10,000 Naira to buy a shirt and a trouser, right? Roughly. And they will do this 3 to 4 times a year. To calculate our actual market size now, we have to do 105, which is the number of potential customers times 3 times purchases a year. That will give us 315,000. Then you multiply this by the cost of your outfits to be able to say for certain how much you most likely make in a year. I don't know if this makes sense, but just try to digest it again. Is anyone confused about what I've shared so far? And I'll take it over again. Because so many people don't like to go through the bottom up approach because it's a bit more complicated. You have to do a lot of assumptions. You have to think about it very well and be sure that you're not missing anything. If not, your calculation will be off. But if you get it right, most likely that will be potentially how much you spend or expect to make um, from your business. So this is all I have around market sizing. At the end of this class, you've learned about how to identify potential business opportunities. Now we've also taught you how to evaluate your business idea or business opportunity, and then how to identify how big the opportunity is using some sizing techniques like the PAM-SAM sum and also the market sizing techniques I've also shared with you. That is all I have for you today, and I'm going to take your questions now.
Wow, wow, wow. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you. So do we
Sir,
have any
please, I have a
questions?
question.
Yes, please go ahead.
Okay, so when you initially started off, talking about research, and I see how important that is. But I don't know, because initially you mentioned that when you want to find out maybe starting a new business and all that, it would be a good idea for you to go into that space where maybe the problem you're trying to solve is happening. Go in there and do your findings, ask questions and all. So what if you are a resident of that community already, and this is where you stay, and that problem is abound, like that's where the problem abounds, in that space where you are and you live there? What shape would your research now take? Will it now be the same thing as someone who maybe is living, someone external from that space? Maybe you've stayed there for over, and you've been experiencing that problem now for over 2 years as well. So, I mean, you've seen it firsthand. It's not like this is something that someone is telling you. How do you go about? Do you need to do research? And then,
Absolutely.
if you will, what shape would that research now take?
That's a very interesting question. So there's something that so many business people always ignore. Many times you have experienced the problem, right? But that's just your own story. Someone else is having a different experience of that problem. You cannot say that because you live in that community that you know what the problem is and you can solve. The people that you're solving that problem for, their input is important in your solution. So as we are human beings like this, we have various perspectives to things. The way I might be seeing something might not be the way you're seeing something. And that is why it's important to not just build a business solely on your own perspective. It is a wrong approach to building a business. You need input. Now, for your specific situation, you need to speak to other people who are living in that community, not just people of your age, grade, and class, but people of various age, grade, and classes that have lived that problem even before you were born, people who are younger than you that might have a different variation of that problem, so that when you bring out the solution, everybody enjoys it. I don't know if that makes sense. But
Yes.
you cannot you cannot say, oh, because I know it, I live it. That is not sufficient. That idea has to be validated. That problem has to be validated. And the best way to do it is through primary research, where you do surveys, interviews, focus group, ask questions. All right? That's how to get as much information as you need.
Okay, thank you, sir. So I have another question.
Yeah, please go ahead.
Okay, let me use an example. So I was in a community where, I was sent to a very low income community as a public school teacher. So I was sent to this community where the teachers, in fact, it's a village. So, going there, I realized that I was supposed to be there to solve the problem of the fact that there are no teachers. But I got in there, having gone through so many trainings. I got in there and I realized that I will be teaching, using my professional whatever, but nobody was listening to me because the students were sleeping. And I had to now start trying to understand what's going on. I realized that most of the children that come to my class would come to my class hungry, so they are not eating, and all that. So I started realizing that this is a different problem on its own. So when I did that, what I did was I reached out to a couple of my friends who are in other schools as well. So I told them to fill in a survey. So I used survey. I put in questions like, okay, how many students do you have in your class who like show up to school hungry? Like their teachers, I asked the teachers the question, they show up to school hungry, or they don't come to school with basic things like books and notebooks and pen. So I put it like a questionnaire format, and then I sent it to a couple of my friends in public schools as well. And I got information. They populated the Google document, Google Forms I sent. And so now the problem is I got that information, but now how do I now evaluate that? Like, what do I do with it? I can just say, okay, I sampled through maybe 10 educators in so local governments in Ogun State, and I found, how do I how do I go about to evaluate the through the information that I found.
That's a very interesting one. So I'm going to say two things. One, there are a lot of technology tools that can help you analyze results of a survey now. There are a lot of AI tools that you can use to distill what the overall insight of your survey is. You can conduct the services of an expert, a data analysis expert, someone who understands how to bring insight out of data and they can help you distill what the insight from your survey is. All right. But something else I wanted to say is you need to understand the people that you're speaking to and know what works for them. If you take someone who is not supposed to be in a place and you put them in that place, they're not going to thrive. There's something called adaptability. You need to adapt your processes to suit the people that you're targeting. All right. So that is one side. But in analyzing insight from data, two things you can leverage technology tools that can help you distill what the insights are from that survey that you've conducted. You can outsource the expertise of a data analyst. That is why they exist. They collect this raw data and they put it into a structured form that will generate some form of charts, dashboards that can give you that insight that you need. The end goal is to is for that data to validate your hypothesis. It's for that data to validate the problem that you have already assumed is existing. The data will not give you, it might show you what the problem is, but many times it might not. It might just be to validate what you already know. I hope that makes sense.
Yes, it does. So do you know any maybe app or something that can help? Do you have any idea,
Mm. I don't have
any
any
tool?
now, but I feel like
Okay.
it's something you can always check on internet. If I find
Okay.
any, I'll forward it to your coordinators and then they'll
Okay.
I'm sending it to you.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Yeah, so we have
You can
Samuel
ask
Adebayo.
ChatGPT for apps that can help you analyze data, and there are also websites. None is coming to my mind right now, but I've used some in the past. You just input your data
Mm,
and they give you graphs. Yeah.
absolutely. Thank you so much, Caroline, for that. Thank you. Thank you for sharing. We have Samuel Adebayo's hand up. Samuel,
Sambayo,
All right.
y- you raise your
yes,
hand
please go
now,
ahead.
and Prince
All
just
right.
called
Thank
you.
you. Thank you so much, sir, for this section. This is like I a very big eye opener for me on business opportunity. I think this should be like a fundamental course for anyone that wants to start a business before even trying to go into a business or something like that. This is
Mm,
really, really amazing. Thank you so much. So I want to ask a question concerning, and I like the fact that you were so real with bringing out real life businesses that everybody could relate with, and it's something that, oh,
mm,
okay, I think I can put this into my business and the likes. So my question is, I run a household cleaning product. So
mhm,
this is where we have like toilet cleaner, the
mhm,
dishwash, the towels wash, and the
mhm,
likes. And for this kind of industry, you have the big dogs already doing something big. They have the fund, they have the marketing, they have the advertisement, they have every single thing that you need, that people want to patronize. So for me
mhm,
now, how do I try and bring in? Okay, so using the example that I used, Netflix, and how Showmax is being able to like bring up something that's still quite different. So my
mhm,
own differentiation I was trying to bring in before, I think, which was when we were having this class, and you were saying something that you don't have to don't create a competitive advantage that can be easily replaced or copied, something like that. So I was using, okay, towels wash or our cleaning products are effective, are affordable, and I feel like that's
mhm,
something that anybody can copy and
mhm,
can even start doing. And so how
mhm,
can I give myself a differentiation or something different? I don't know, I just want to learn, like, give me some ideas I can do that can be something different. Now, looking at the market size again, this is a necessity that people need, but using as a small business, the number of people that I can reach for now is still people within me. I can't really get to people across. So what are the
mhm,
channel, like distribution channel, that I can use, or marketing opportunities that can help me? And what are the survey that can also get from people? What are questions that I can ask from people to get to know what are the things they are looking for in their, maybe the household cleaning product and the likes? I don't know if you understand. I don't know, I'm saying three
mhm.
things at a time though, but I want to know what differentiation can I choose for my products that can make me stand out. Is it that I have to, is there a way I can incubate tech into my cleaning product and say, okay, maybe I'm having an e-commerce platform that people can order, we have delivery. I don't know. What do you think I can do to bring in my ideas together that can make it different from these big dogs that is into the industry? So when I'm pitching my idea, it doesn't look like, okay, why should I prioritize you and not these other people that I can get at the store or go somewhere? So I don't know if you can help me with that. Thank you.
You want to collect free consultation.
Yeah.
If you want a proper business consultation service, you have to come to my DM and send me an email.
My God, thank you so much. That's why you are here. Thank you.
So Samuel, I don't have all the ideas. I can hear myself. Is someone's mic turned on? Hello. Okay, no, that's fine. So I don't have all the answers. This is why you are the business owner. This is why you're the one solving that problem. The onus falls on you to find out that differentiator. If you want to employ my services as a business consultant for you, you'd have to pay me for my time. But okay, so top of my head, what I can think about is why do people require cleaning products? When you think about it, engage in a lot of brainstorming sessions. Just circle around cleaning product. Why do people need cleaning products? Right? Most likely to clean their homes. They want it to smell fresh. They want it affordable. Can a cleaning product be multi-purpose? Can a cleaning product be promoting the concept of sustainability and climate change? Can a cleaning product be used to, you just need to think about various possibilities. Now, of all of the things I've said, something that piques my interest now is this sustainability concept. We look at emerging trends. You know how I always say, if you go back to the basic, if you look at emerging trends, sustainability is something that is getting the attention of people. Sustainable. Can you rebrand your cleaning products in a way that it communicates sustainability and appeals to a newer audience? This can be one strategy. You can decide to have one special product that is just a sustainability cleaning, whatever, used, or maybe you can see that the bottle was created out of sustainable materials, or the product in it was created out of sustainable materials to enable or promote climate change. That would open doors to customers who are climate change sensitive to become your new customers. Now, sit with people who use your product and ask them what are the other problems that they have, or you can speak to people who are currently your customers. Ask them for feedback on your product, on what you can improve upon. Look at people who have cleaning products. What are they doing? What are they doing differently? Can your business go on digital channels? Can you go on various marketplaces where people would see your products and order for your service? What is your social media strategy plan? What kind of content do you produce? What kind of content do you create? What channels do you get through to meet people? Who are you actually targeting? Can you create a product for working professionals? Can you create a product for people who are in very greasy, demanding areas where the kind of cleaning product they need are very high intensity cleaning product? See, there's a whole lot that we can expound on if I continue to go. But this is where I'm going to stop. If you need my service, send me an email. I'll send you my rate card. Thank you very much. So let's have Jovita honor her.
Okay, thank you, sir, for today's teaching. What I noticed is that most of the examples that you've given us today are mostly product based. So I want to ask, does it work for service based kind of business? The same.
Absolutely.
Oh,
Completely. And so most of the examples have been product focused. Gym is a service product, if you ask me. So
oh,
I feel it's totally, all of these things can be applied to both product or services. But for the sake of the teaching, I wanted to use very relatable example. But thanks for your question.
okay, sir.
So let's have Taiwo Esther. I know I've kept you guys very long. This is almost 4 hours after. Thank you so much for being patient. I needed to point as much as possible so that, like I told you, I'm very passionate about
Sir,
entrepreneurs. Yes, please go ahead, Esther.
thank you very much. Hello.
Yes, I can hear you.
Yes, good afternoon, sir. Can you hear me?
Yes,
Yes,
yes, yes, I
I
can.
said thank you very much for the class because it has been so awesome. It has been an eye opener. So my question is, you said that as business owners, like we should understand the trend that is happening in our environment, that we should
Mm-hmm,
listen to news, know what is happening and the likes. So I want to ask
mm-hmm,
now that we know one of the major challenge in our environment now is this climate change.
And we know that plastic waste has contributed a lot. And somebody
Mhm.
mentioned the fact that now, and I'm also aware that Lagos State is planning to ban plastic and the likes. So my question is, what of businesses that maybe for ages now, they've been of help in solving issues related to plastic waste? Now, if probably the government bans it, you said we should. Now they never saw this kind of thing coming. So what will be their fate? That is my question. And then how can we project as entrepreneurs? How can we project into the future, like, and see some things that might likely come? I don't know, maybe you get my question. So that some regulations will not just come and just probably catch us unawares and just bring an end to probably what someone has been building for years. I don't know, maybe you get my question, sir.
Yeah, Javita is supporting you on the chat and
So
saying thank you for the question.
that's my
Okay, so
question.
I think, yeah, so that's a very interesting one. So the short and long answer of it is what makes you a business owner is your ability to quickly pivot and and move your business to the winds of the changing dynamics of the economy or the market you're playing in. That's what makes you a business owner. That's what makes you stay competitive. All right. You cannot project and say, oh, what will be the regulation? I mean, some, if you have been following the news, it can give you an idea of what's most likely to happen or what the conversation is going on, to be. But you cannot say there's no magic wand to know what will eventually happen in the future. What most people rely on is looking at emerging trends and making assumptions and adjusting their businesses to it. You're not going to just sit there if a regulation comes, say, they've killed me, I can no longer do my business. What makes you a business owner is your ability to pivot very quickly. So paying attention to emerging trends keep you in the know so that it's informing your strategy. So for example, before this policy on like plastic waste in Lagos came about, there have
Yes,
been
sir.
signals like xylophones were banned
Yes,
in Lagos.
yes, yes.
I'm sure this is not the first time you're hearing something around banning plastics in
Not at all.
and for businesses who are centered around solving problems from plastic waste, Lagos is not the only place where there's plastic waste, and plastic
Okay.
waste is not the only problem in the market. If they ban it, find a way to
Look for another.
move. Exactly. That's what makes you a business owner. You move. Maybe it's
It revolves around that
maybe
plastic
it's
waste.
paper
That's how.
waste.
Okay.
Yes, you move and say, oh, it's no longer plastic waste now, it's paper waste that we're after. Oh, don't waste paper. And that way your business you continue moving. What
Wow.
keeps you
Thank you.
going is you being able to pivot and move with the time. All right. And I hope that answers the question.
Yes,
Please,
sir.
if you ask your question, please keep your hands down. I'm Jovita, your
100%.
hand. Yeah, thank you so much for
All
that
right.
question. Esther. That was a very
Thank
interesting
you,
one.
sir.
Thanks.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, so let's hear from Femi John. I'm going to take your questions very quickly. Please keep them short so that we can close off by 1.
Okay, sir. Good afternoon, sir. Good
Good
afternoon, everyone.
afternoon.
Okay, so I have two questions. And firstly, I want to know my sector rating. Okay, so I produce musical instruments like electric guitars, acoustic guitars, and their leather products and all. Okay, so I've made some research, and personally, I'm a musician, and I know there's this gap of we having limited access to uh musical instruments, customized musical instruments, and varieties, then affordability. So those things are current. In fact, with the rate now, things are so choking for musicians. But then I want to know, I've been trying to apply for grants, and I realize so many grants favors agriculture and tech. Basically, my craft actually features in the two fields. I use wood, which I feel is agricultural, and in fact 80% of my productions are wood based, and now I use leathers too. So I want to know how. Yeah, okay. Then the thirdly, I use tech based. I use softwares for my designs, cards. I use a lot of stuff for my crafts. And now I want to know how can I feature these things in my applications to rightly be positioned for these grants because
Mm-hmm.
all kind of fits for my work, and there's no grant that says something like musical sector that supports and empowers musical sector. So it's a lot of thing for me. So please, I want to know, is there a way I can feature my stuffs into those
Mm,
applications properly? Thank you.
mm. So it's about the messaging of your grant application. So if your application is not communicating value to the people who are the grants screeners, they are not going to consider your grants. Now, bamboo, some people have a bias around bamboo because they feel like if you're using bamboo, you're contributing to depleting natural resources. That is one. And then most people think around so when you think about agriculture, they think about food and security. But you need to, I mean, I feel like maybe you haven't found the right grant application for you. I know that there might be grant applications that are focusing on alternative solutions. There might be grants applications that are focusing on like leveraging sustainable material. I don't know if using bamboo is a sustainable way. Like like is it
No, we don't use
preventing
bamboo. We don't use bamboo. We use wood. We don't use bamboo.
wood?
Yes, yes. We use other woods like mahogany. We use
Okay, so what I'm
walnut
going to
wood.
say is it's just the communication. So you need to communicate the impact of your business to your grant um, providers. You need to also speak to people who would most likely refer you to the specific grants that are required for you. There is this company, okay, no, that's an ATC. The ATC is mostly focused on NGOs, but if you can work around the story on your grant application in a way that communicates the impact of it, making musical instruments affordable and sustainable for young musicians. Just tell a very compelling story that can change the dynamics of your grant application. Second of all, is finding the right grant. Maybe you have not found the right grant yet. You need to really do research beyond Africa. Find grants beyond Africa. Don't just focus on Africa. Find grants that are in line with what you're doing, grants that are for music producers or grants that are for manufacturers, grants that are tilted towards your specific business need. And most times you see that when you apply for those grants that are for you, you're most likely to end up getting them. But that's the only thing I think I can talk about now. But I don't know of any specific one that I can refer you to. But when it comes to the appeal of what you're doing, I think it's very interesting to think about how you're leveraging alternative materials to create musical instruments that are affordable. But when it comes to the feel and look of it, is it appealing for people to purchase? And why are you only thinking about musicians?
No,
Why can't
oh well,
individuals buy these materials for themselves or these musical instruments for themselves?
no. It's not just for musicians. No, no, no. Of course, by research, there seems to be every like at least one person in a family having interest in music.
Mm.
So one of the things giving them issues the availability and the um, cost of those musical instruments. So it's not just music. Of course, interested people, potential people that are. Some people just learn it for fun. Some people just learn it for satisfaction. It's
Mm.
not just for musicians,
Okay,
definitely.
cool. Also think about partnerships with like music schools, like schools, like various schools that teach music in Nigeria might be willing to patronize your business when it comes to the musical instrument. Many schools that have music as a course don't have practical use of music equipment because of schools can't afford them. So if it's a solution you're providing, I think it's interesting. You should be considering like partnering with people who might be in need of it. Some people might not know that they like music until they try doing it. And that's why some schools teach music in school. And many times when these teachers ask for musical equipment, they're very expensive and schools can afford them. But if you can provide musical instruments that are affordable to schools, that can be another opportunity for your business. I hope that helps.
All right, sir. Thank you, sir. I'm working on that. The reason why I'm actually looking for funds is the fact that most of the machines and tools we use in the production seems to be very scarce and very expensive.
So why is
For
grant the
very
only way you're
professional.
exploring? funding?
I've been doing other sources. Of course, I've been having my sources from family, friends, and well, some low interest loans. But I just feel as also a startup, you know, it's not really advisable to go for all this higher and well, for me, I'm scared of taking bank loans and other stuff like that. So
Okay, just find the right grant application and continue to expand on your funding options. You can even think about making it like finding an angel investor, a VC that is willing to invest in your business. There are private equity firms that invest in SMEs. All right. You just need to find the right one that works for you. So we're out of time. I don't know if I can take the remaining questions. So just very quickly, Babatunde and Adela, I'm giving 1 minute to ask your question and I'll take both of them together. So let's have Babatunde first and then we have Adela.
Good afternoon, sir.
Adela, I cannot hear you. You're breaking up.
I'm not the one speaking. That's Ojuari.
Ask for you to share your. Please, sir, can you share your message? You can contact. Sir, please, can you share your.
Okay, so I cannot hear him. Let's have Adela.
Good afternoon, sir. Can you hear me,
Yeah.
sir?
Yes, I can hear you.
Sir, can you hear your
All right,
so you can contact.
I think the other person is saying you should drop your contact. I think that's what she's trying to say, although she's not clear.
I don't know if I
Okay.
can do that, but I'll see. So please ask your
All
question,
right,
Adela.
All right.
You can connect
not
with me on
actually,
LinkedIn, guys. If you want to connect, you can connect with me on LinkedIn. That's fine. Yeah, go ahead, Adela.
Okay, it's actually not a question, but I want to respond to the lady who talked about plastic waste and policies that could arise
Yeah, please go
tomorrow
ahead.
from government.
Yeah,
Okay,
please go
so
ahead.
firstly would say thank you very much, sir, for today's lecture. It's been insightful. So I'm into the waste industry, waste management industry, recycling and upcycling. What I basically do is that I convert tires to furniture, size tools, like you mentioned earlier, like you saw someone on TikTok, something like that. So for such a lady, and I think to an extent you answered a question about other things you can do with waste and other materials that are from waste, which are not just plastic alone. We have nylons, we have tires, like I use practically. I also use nylons. I also use cardboards, cartons, and the likes. There are a lot of wine corks to create beautiful art pieces and all of that. So don't try to be innovative, spontaneous, and be dexterous. So, and again, one of the things people like us can do is that once we are able to be a voice, because we lack that culture here, this recycling and upcycling culture is not well saturated. It's not well, they haven't done enough awareness. So when people like us are able to, come out or probably join communities that are, gearing up to this cause, especially when government knows that these solutions we are providing are in line with the UN SDG goals and the likes, they'll be able to, do, but the awareness is not there. Even governments, they don't even have the right education about these things. So that's the reason why. So when people like us come together and we are forced to reckon with, knowing that we are providing solution, not just for ourselves, but our immediate environment and the society at large, they'll be able to, work around these things. And that's why majority of the times government tackle companies who produce these plastics, especially like Coca-Cola, you see, and the reason they are tackling them is because they know the effect of it on the street and all of that. But Coca-Cola also have seen a lot of advantage in trying to bring in people who do this recycling, and they are working with them, a lot of them. So it's just that people like us have not been well known and well heard. So there are a lot of opportunities there, as much as there are a lot of threats there. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Adela. That was really, 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 really solid. Thanks for sharing that with everyone. Really appreciate you doing that. So yeah, absolutely spot on. I totally agree with everything that you've shared. As business owners, as entrepreneurs, you need to constantly think of ways to continuously innovate and stay relevant in your market. So I believe this session has been quite insightful and helpful for everyone. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you for giving me your audience. I do not take it for granted. I really enjoy speaking with your cohorts and your class. I have an assignment for everyone. We have another session on Thursday with me, which is also on market activity. What that session is about is using the various ways to identify business opportunity. You're expected to come up with 200 business ideas from all of these methods. So we're thinking about market research, thinking about emerging trends and industry assessment, talking about your own skills, experience, and interest. We're talking about, what the competitors are doing. Everything that we've discussed today, I need you to come up with 200 business ideas. Of that 200, we're going to shortlist the best 10 or the first 10 people that join the class on market activity on Thursday. And I hope that that would give you an idea on how to, on new business frontiers and opportunities that you can explore. Now, if you already have an existing business, you can also think about your business. What are some other initiatives that can lead to business